the open road. I got the throttle wide open, feel my pace. Got 100 horses between my legs. No destination, no end in sight. Just me and the open road, riding into the moonlight. On my two wheels, all that I need is white lines and gasoline. Life in the fast lane, it's easy to maintain. Just twist the throttle on back and feel no pain. From the open highways, backwoods of the country, where live free or die is the only way. On my two wheels, all that I need is white lines and gasoline. Never look back, never look back. 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 White lines and gasoline. White lines and gasoline. Two wheels in the open road, life and death in my own hands. I am my own justice, I am my own man. I never look behind through all that I have seen. 'Cause all I need is white lines of gasoline. White lines of gasoline. White lines of gasoline. White lines of gasoline. We believe in the American way, and we built this country called the USA, and we fly our flag 'cause we're proud and free, we're Americans. Red, white, and blue is our way of life. We never back down from a challenge or a fight. Nature provides, God gives the rights, we're Americans. We make up America, this amazing America. Yeah. We fish the waters and we hunt the lands. We forge the steel with our own two hands. With what we've got, we do the best we can. We're Americans. From the snowy passes to the desert sun, dogs and the horses and the trucks and the guns, mothers and daughters and fathers and sons, we're Americans. We make up America, this amazing America. Yeah, home of the brave in America. We're an amazing America.
Thanks, race fans, for watching All Pro Broadcasting tonight. At Domino's TYJ Racing, Season 1 has been a great success, with Justin Faulkner earning the Gen 6 Cup Car Championship, while Curtis Young brought home the trophy for the Denton Fenders Truck Championship. For 2017, we are expanding to include our new Top Shelf Series. If you're a serious, clean, competitive racer looking for a league with serious, dedicated, respectful drivers who follow simple, strict rules with no favoritism, then apply today at Domino'sTYJRacing.com to see if you qualify for a personal invite to one of our broadcasted live tryout races starting Thursday, December 1st on All Pro Broadcasting. The few open seats in our 3 series will be filled soon. So apply today at Domino'sTYJRacing.com and we will see you on the track.
Hey, this is Garrett Smithley, driving the number 0 JD Motorsports Chevrolet, and you're watching All Pro Broadcasting.
So proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous the nights that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land under the frame? You're the home of the brave. Because we are the brave. Yes, we are the brave. We'll fight you in name, the name of the brave. We are the US of A. For those unaware, that flag is still there. It's our future to save. Stand of the brave, the US of A. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land under the frame? In the home of the
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, iRacing fans around the world, and our military heroes, welcome to Remembering the Heroes 300. I am Scott Kolovic, your announcer for the evening. Joining me in the booth is my good friend, Cody Lipster. How you doing, Cody?
I'm doing very good tonight. I really can't wait for this race to start getting going here. This looks like it's going to be a great race. We got a beautiful night tonight under the lights. Can't wait for it to get underway.
I tell you what, it is going to be a good one tonight. We got a live broadcast coming to you by All Pro Broadcasting. Big broadcaster out here, only broadcaster for KMA Racing. Check them out on Facebook, All Pro Broadcasting. Tonight's race is brought to you by GW Graphics, our very own good friend Gary Whitmer. He is the official videographer for KMA Racing. GW Graphics up there on Facebook as well. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to see a lot of great looking paints out there tonight. The majority of tonight's drivers out there showing their support for all the veterans, the military personnel out there, the EMTs. I tell you what, big shout out to the painter out there. Over the top paints and designs. Cody, go on and talk to us about this 2.5 mile Daytona track.
Like you said, it is 2.5 miles around, and this is a great race to always be at and watch. And being in Daytona, it's great and sunny year-round. 72 degrees tonight. Going to have a great track temp. Going to have a little bit of sliding with these trucks out here, these Chevy Silverados and Toyota Tundras. But I don't think it's going to be too much for these drivers to handle out here tonight. They got 120 laps, which is 300 miles to do it. So they've got a lot of time to get it done, get it out there. Hopefully they can get in and out of pit road easily. Everything should go in nice and smooth tonight.
Well, I tell you what, as you mentioned, on this 2.5 mile Daytona track, it is a great night. We've got great weather. We got a great cause. We got great drivers, great looking trucks out there. But there is one problem, Cody. It is that apron there at Daytona. Tell us about the dangers of that Daytona inside apron.
Yeah, Daytona, it's a very treacherous little speedway when it comes down to that double yellow line, and really it is double yellow because you don't hit that first yellow line. Because as soon as you hit that first yellow line, you're going to go down to the second yellow line, and you're going to hit that apron, go around really fast, and it's not at all forgiving. So you got to be careful, got to watch yourself, got to watch the people next to you. A lot tighter than Talladega. You can go 3 wide, but it's not recommended for extended periods of time. You can do it. Still, it's very treacherous. This track was not made for that 3 wide, 4 wide action that we see at Talladega a lot.
Well, and I tell you what, Cody, if you are in a 3 wide situation here at Daytona, and you are the truck in the middle, and you start pressuring down that inside truck, that truck sitting to your left door, he's going to edge ever closer to that yellow line. Now, he's trying like hard to get up off of that yellow line. We're going to see some door banging in that situation. But, these Chevy Silverados, these Toyota Tundras, they can take the door banging. Alrighty, folks, more importantly, I do want to talk about the theme of tonight. As I said, this is the Remember the Heroes 300. We've got some great drivers out here. Just to name a few, we've got Chris Hogue out here tonight joining us. He is an Army veteran out from Vietnam. So thank you there, Chris Hogue. We have got Edward Bray, Army. Gary Burt in the Air Force. We've got Matthew Quick, an aircraft electrician. Interesting looking truck out here tonight, driven by Zach Coyer, representing his family member in the 75th Battalion. Army Ranger right there with Zach. Joel Guy was in the Marine Corps. Big shout out to Joel Guy and the Marine Corps. Ben Gear representing the Air Force. Our very own good friend Jason Smith, not able to join us, but with the National Guard for 8.5 years. Doug Bledsoe, another Army vet, friend of Kenneth Wright, driving with us tonight. Big shout out to Doug out there on the broadcast. Gary Whitmer representing the VFW tonight. And Dean Viney doing his time there with the Army. Now, one driver out here that is current is a young driver by the name of James Lehman. And big shout out to James Lehman, active duty. Big shout out to all the military personnel out there.
Yeah, we really appreciate all of those that served in the military and or are planning to serve. Really, is good big thank you tonight is completely brought to you guys by the freedom that we have.
Well, and I tell you what, one more final shout out. I want to give a shout out to my family. I come from a very military-oriented family. My brother Tony, big shout out to him. He was over there in Desert Storm and Panama. My younger sister, Cheryl, currently employed by the National Guard. She was overseas building schools over there in Afghanistan, if I'm correct. My Uncle Jerry, my Aunt Mary, my dear old mom was out there in the military as well. I've got a couple of cousins out there in the Navy. My niece Katie, her husband Jack, is out there on a ship right now out in the middle of nowhere. So big shout out to all branches, military, Navy, Air Force, Marines, and National Guard. All righty, Cody, get us underway with this qualifying lineup tonight.
Qualifying lineup, taking over your pole position for tonight, Mark Jackson in the Gravedigger truck, Chevy Silverado. And then beside him will be Andrew Schulte in the number 8 Chevy Silverado with a 49.945. Then you have Mitchell Reeves right behind him in the 02, starting in third with a 49.947. Right beside him will be Dustin Markham taking over P4 with a 49.948, and Travis Browder will be rounding out your top 5 with a 49.958.
Taking that P5 position, we do have the number 85 of Judd Danielson with the 49.967. Number 57, Wally Tierheimer, position 7, 49.973, side by side with Scott Sanderson in the POW. Number 93 tonight, Scott Sanderson, P8 with a 49.979. Richard Brose in the Richie B Chevy Silverado, position 9 with a 49.989. And I tell you what, position 10, number 146, great look and support right there for our troops. Kenneth Wright, 49.995.
Just starting outside of your top 10 will be Edward Bray starting in P11 with 49.997. Len McNeese will be starting on the outside of him with a 50.001. Behind him in P13 will be Dean Viney in the 71 with a 50.007. Beside him will be Jason Ruscio with a 50.009. And rounding out your top 15 will be Wesley Whitfield with a 50.009.
Big shout out to our grid sponsor, Michelangelo's Painting, helping us out with the grid tonight. Michelangelo's, position 16 to 11, Tristan Beach with a 50.014. The number 40 of Gary Whitmer Jr., number 17, position 17 with a 50.019. Greg McClendon, P18 with a 50.023. Freeman Kelly, number 31 with a 50.045. And the number 5, James Lehman with a 20.052.
Mike Krupinski will be starting P21 with a 50.099. Rex S. will be starting in P22 with a 50.100. Zach Coyer will be in 23rd. Chris Holg, Williams Wise, Zach Ziegman.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, we are getting ready to go green here at Daytona. Pace car is in. Mark Jackson up there on that front spot, side by side with Andrew Schulte. Take her away, Cody.
Mark Jackson gets off to a really good jump and is clear of the high lane. Will stay in the low lane, though, as it is the preferred line for right now. Andrew Schulte will be charging hard on the outside, though, trying to get a good run through 1 and 2, trying to get onto the backstretch hard as fast as possible. These trucks are winding up to 180 miles per hour now, going down the backstretch.
It does take about 3/4 of a lap for these trucks to get up to full speed. Right now, Andrew Schulte and up there in front with Mark Jackson doing a very good job. I really don't expect a lot of real hard driving for the first few laps. I think everybody's just going to kind of hang out, chill, find their partner, find their mark. You know, they have got to perform out 3 complete pit stops tonight, as well as a top-off. And nobody likes to really spend those pitting situations under caution, Cody. So I think everybody is going to pull together tonight for a great race, for a great cause here at the Remembering the Heroes 300.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a lot of hard fighting, a lot of back and forth, a lot of side-by-side racing. And, you know, those people that are in the back right now, no guarantees they're going to be in the back for very long because as you can see already, the side-by-side action, it's going to be tense. It's going to be very tight. Andrew Schulte led the last lap. Now he's going to go after the lead once more.
Now we are looking at the number 13 National Guard and Mountain Dew combo driven by Dustin Markham. He is all over the rear end of the number 8 Hardy Silverado being driven by Andrew Schulte. Let's talk about the lanes right now. It seems to me, Cody, that Andrew and Mark Jackson, they are side by side. Are they not really challenging one another? Are they just pretty much content right now to control these front spots?
See, right now, I'd be definitely content with controlling the front spots, and it looks like they are too. So, trying to drive it too hard and trying to drive it too deep into the corners, trying to side draft too much, it can be very devastating on Daytona because of how tight the track is, and there's not a lot of room to, maneuver around other trucks and other vehicles that are stopped and slanted on the nice high banking here at Daytona. So, moving 195 miles per hour right now, I wouldn't be too worried about moving up anywhere because there really is no place up to move if you're Andrew Schulte and Mark Jackson.
Copy that. Now, if you're in the back, that's a little bit of a different story. Right now, taking a look at the number 93, Scott Sanderson, sitting in position 6. Now, he is in a position here. He's got Travis Browder, Wally Tierheimer pushing hard on him, but the number 93 is keeping a full truck and a half position away off of the number 85 of Judd Danielson, but he is in a position to go 3 wide. Right now with 4, we're on lap 4, so we've got 109 to go. Do you think the 3 wide would be a good thing to go to the front, get up in the front and stay in the front?
Well, you can force the issue, but really you're still looking at another 115 laps to go yet tonight, 116 laps. But you're not going to be able to go anywhere once you get up there, and if everybody starts challenging like that this early, now yes, I'm not saying you can't take your car or your truck 3 wide, trying to test it out, feel it out, trying to get that third lane to start working itself in already, but it's really just not suggested. Andrew Schulte down into the lead.
Alrighty, now we do have our leader popping down into that lead, getting into the front of the Gravedigger, Mark Jackson, and now that inside lane seems to be taken off, but up there on the inside, we're now going to have Dustin Markham being pushed on by the number 85 of Judd Danielson, the number 93 of Scott Sanderson's third truck in line, not going that 3 wide quite just yet, very content to stay on to the rear end of the 85 of Judd Danielson here on lap 6. So far, so good tonight with the Remembering the Heroes 300 here at Daytona.
Yeah, right now I'd definitely be keeping your eyes on Dustin Markham. He might be your next leader on this lap around, as he's getting a very good push through 3 and 4, going to get a good push down the front stretch, and we're going to have to see whether or not he can maintain the solid run that he's got going so far. Caution is out.
Caution is out, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to take a look at that on our All-Pro Broadcasting replay, brought to you by Gary Whitmer. That will bring out our first caution of the night, ladies and gentlemen. We do know that the number 88 of Gary Burt was involved with it. I tell you what, here at Daytona, we were talking about that yellow line situation, and this one here actually was not caused by the yellow line. We are looking at it, and we see that the number 23 and the number 28 of Chris Boyles, unfortunately, getting caught up into our first caution of the evening.
Yeah, it just looks like the number 23 of gosh.
We're trying to find that on our replay, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, there we go.
Scott Zemke in the number 23.
He just ended up getting pushed a little bit too hard by the 55, and just got a little bit of a bump going into the corner now, and then just ended up getting clipped a little bit. Not huge major damage, but it just took him a little bit away from the trucks.
Well, unfortunately, the number 28 of Chris Bowles, he was just down there minding his own business there as the number 23 of Scott Zimpe came across his rear end. Unfortunate break right there for the number 28. Fortunately, a couple of drivers able to swerve around that, not so much for the number 24 of Everett Lane. Everett Lane sustaining a little bit of front end damage as he gets into the rear of the number 23. 23 doing everything he can to stay up off of that wall, but here at Daytona, when that caution comes out, you hang on, close your eyes.
Yeah, you definitely got to try your best to make sure you don't bobble here at Daytona. And, a lot of these drivers doing an amazing job already of showing a lot of great patience and trying to figure out where they want to go and how they want to do it before they ever get to it. So, right now, I expect a lot of drivers to pit in, but a lot more to even stay out because of the amount of fuel that we have supplied tonight. And I don't expect a lot of green flag pit stops, but I hope we can get at least one or two in tonight.
Well, that will bring out a very early caution here at Daytona. But I'll tell you what, sometimes it takes one quick caution to, shake everybody up. You got to get warmed up. You got to get your gears right. You got to get into the groove. You got to find your groove. Guys are jockeying right now, not only for positions, but they're jockeying for partners. Because here at Daytona, you need a partner out there to draft with. You need a partner out there to pit with. So these drivers right now, very early on, but we are going to get back to some green flag racing here. But first, I want to get one special fella up here into the booth with us. How about it, Gary Whitmer? Have you got a copy?
Yeah, Scott, I got you.
All righty, I wanted to make sure I did get one interview in with you. You did a great-looking commercial out there for tonight's race on Facebook. Good job. You are the race sponsor for tonight, as well as our replay sponsor. Talk to us about GW Graphics.
GW Graphics is I do video editing for commercials for All Pro Racing, All Pro Broadcast Racing, for their commercials, interviews, intros, promos.
All right, I tell you what, you do a very great job. You put me in awe every time, and whenever I need one made, I come to you. So, very great job. Where can we find out a little bit more info about GW Graphics?
It's GW Graphics on Facebook. It is spelled Grafphics. It's spelled with an F instead of a P. Well, F and a P. And also on YouTube. GW Graphics on YouTube.
All righty, now talk to me real quick about your plans for tonight's race. Still got a long way to go tonight.
Got a long way to go. Had some technical issues earlier. That's why I started way kind of mid-pack. I didn't get the number that I wanted. I usually run 5 here with KMA Racing. I'm number 40, so that's got me a little bit mixed up on my pits. Just take my patience. Patience is the key.
Absolutely correct. Patience is the key. All right. Thank you, Gary Whitmer, and thank you, GW Graphics. Good luck to you tonight.
All right. Thanks, Scott.
I'll tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, if you missed that commercial out there on Facebook, make sure you get out there and check it out. Great commercial out there by GW Graphics. We're going to get one more driver interview in. How about it, Gary Bird? Have you got a copy?
Yes, sir, I do.
All righty. Now, I understand that you have done some time with the military. Talk to me about that.
Yes, sir. Graduated from high school and spent 4 years in the United States Air Force.
All righty. Pretty good experience there for you. I want to give you a big shout out for the time you spent over there. Talk to us about your thoughts on the remaining 110 laps here at Daytona.
Well, Scott, I had some connection issues, and so I started a lap down. That caution allowed me to get my lap back. I'm on the tail end of the field, so right now I think I'm just going to ride and turn some laps and just kind of see how the servers does, and just wait until later on when it's go time to put the hammer down.
All righty. Hey, big shout out to that truck out there. United States Air Force. Big shout out to you, sir, for showing your support and making us proud out there and being one of our heroes that we will remember. Thank you, Gary Burt.
Thank you, guys.
A lot of great paint schemes out here done up. A lot of drivers decided to do paint schemes for this race, and we really appreciate everybody that tries to put out a lot of effort, and a lot of these guys go over and above with a lot of the stuff that they do. So, we really just want to thank those that do the paint schemes and do the military time as well.
Big shout out to Over the Top Paints and Designs, our primary painter out here. Pace car is in. Back to some green flag racing here at the Remember the Heroes 300. Andrew Schulte out front. Big jump with Andrew Schulte, leaving an entire truck length gap between him and the 85 of Judd Nelson. Now, what that's going to do with Mark Jackson and the number 3 Gravedigger, that's going to get Mark Jackson a run. But right now, the number 93 of Scott Sanderson not really pushing on Mark Jackson like I thought he would be, Cody.
Well, he might also start to be thinking here, we are still only 11 laps into this. We've got a long race to go yet, so there's really no real big reason to push that hard. And, if he's got the same mindset as a lot of these other people here, no reason to bring out a caution right now.
Well, I will agree with that, but if you're up here in the front, there is a reason to push hard. You got to push very hard because you have got 37 more drivers trying to get around you. Right now, Mark Jackson laying as hard as he can onto that accelerator pedal, but we've got Andrew Schulte and the 85 of Judd Nelson right there, pace for pace, turn for turn, lap for lap, side by side.
Yeah, Mark Jackson got the lead on the last lap, but Andrew Schulte fighting back hard on the inside line, trying to get his nose back out in front, hoping that he can get back into good rhythm here.
Now moving back a couple of spots, we have got the number 18 of Travis Browder side by side with Richard Brose. Now I will tell you something about both of these drivers, Cody. They are not scared of that 3 wide, and in fact, the number 87 of Richie B prefers that third lane. So he is in a possible position. We may see some 3 wide action coming at you very soon.
Even though he did not take it 3 wide earlier in the race, he's already up 3 spots. So expect to see him up in the front at least once before this race gets really going.
Going to see big things out there from Richard Brose tonight, but in his rearview mirror, he's got the number 66 of Edward Bray. Edward Bray out here showing his support for our military heroes out there. Great looking paint job by Edward Bray in the number 66 tonight. P7 holding steady here on lap 13.
Lots of drivers fighting hard side by side, trying to gain a little bit just to see what it will do for their trucks in the long run, but nobody really seems to be getting anywhere right now, as it seems like we're all in highway traffic jam right now. There's not really many places to go. You can take it 3 wide, but you really want to be very careful when you do it. So a lot of drivers just taking their time, taking it easy.
Well, something they do need to remember is you cannot finish a race if you're broke. And something I preach to all the drivers out here that inhabit our racetracks is, I try to convince them about putting other drivers into a precarious situation. And tonight, right now, all these drivers are being heroes, just like the real-life heroes out there with the military branches, taking care of us. Right now, Cody, these drivers are taking care of one another here on lap 14.
Well, not only that, but they're being very cautious, even when it comes to themselves. I mean, they're being very gentle and making sure they're not crossing the line in the corners. They're not really crowding each other, which is very safe and very good promoted driving.
Now, as this race will progress and the laps do start to unwind, that will be changing. Once these drivers get into pit road now, Cody, what's going to happen? You're going to have about 6-7 drivers possibly going into pit row as a group and breaking away from the primary pack. And we're going to be seeing a lot of teammates out there. We stand a high possibility of seeing Travis Browder, Richard Brose, and Wally Tierheimer right now in 5th, 6th, and 7th respectively. I would fully anticipate to see these three drivers trying to break away from this pack and go off onto their own. But in order to do that successfully, you got to have at least 4 or 5 trucks.
Well, you got to have a good group of vehicles with you. The trucks are kind of one of those things that they punch a pretty big hole in the air, and you got to have a lot of drivers behind you in order to make sure that hole keeps moving forward. So, when you're driving through one or two trucks by yourself, it's not very easy. But when you get groups of 5, 6, and even 7, it makes it a lot easier to gain ground on the smaller packs around the track.
Now a couple of more teammates out here I'm going to mention up is the guys from Southeast Motorsports. Tonight we have got Mitchell Reeves, Tyler Chalk, Burles Felkins, and Wesley Whitfield out here tonight running for Southeast Motorsports. Now these drivers here right now, they are not really in real close proximity with one another, so they're going to have to work a little harder tonight to get caught up with where they would like to be here at Daytona.
Yeah, they're going to take a little bit trying to adjust, trying to get closer to each other, but really it's just all a matter of time.
Back up to the front, we have got the number 85 of Judd Danielson leading that inside lane, trying to lead his first lap of the night. Does not quite get it. Andrew Schulte leading lap 18. But I talked about Travis Browder in the number 18 tonight, and he is working hand in hand with Andrew Schulte, a fellow teammate of his over at Max Velocity. And here comes Wally Tierheimer, another Maximum Velocity driver, and Andrew Schulte in the number 8, both sporting the Hardy truck scheme. So Maximum Velocity trying to get hooked up here on lap 18, but they are split apart by Jason Russo in the number 14 and Mark Jackson running both for KMA, and they are second and third truck on the outside lane.
Yeah, a lot of teammates trying to drive with teammates, but you know, it was pretty cool to see a little bit of 3 wide there when Jason Russo was going there, and I believe it was Scott Sanderson that was right on his outside.
We got a little bit of contact with 93, Scott Sanderson.
A little bit of a wiggle right there. Good saving by both drivers.
I tell you what we saw right there was the number 93 of Scott Sanderson just pushing a little bit hard on number 14 of Jason Russo. Get him a little bit squiggly here on lap 19. But, you know, great save there by the number 14 Pro Automotive Silverado. And we can see on his tailgate there a little bit of damage.
Nice thing about this being a super speedway, rear end does not matter very much. If you get a little bit of damage on the front end, little crinkles, that'll affect you, but any rear end damage, most of the time it's getting the spoiler out of the way and really just adding speed to your truck. So lucky rear end damage, unlucky front end.
But I tell you what, right now, you know, Scott Sanderson, he may actually owe Jason Russo, you know, the courtesy of right now staying with him a little bit longer and kind of protecting him, since he did. You know, he is responsible for that rear end damage. Right now, possibly wanting to go 3 wide and hanging off the left rear end taillight of the number 14, but backing it down, getting back squared up. But in his rearview mirror, we've got the number 87 of Richard Brose, side by side with Len McNeese and the number 84. Another great looking paint job right there in that number 84.
Yeah, he's definitely a lot of drivers wanting to try that third line, but a lot of them saying, well, you know, I can only try it if there's so many drivers with me. Now we're coming up on lap traffic. We're going to have to see on which side they try to go on. It looks like we're going to be taking it 3 wide for 3 and 4.
Well, I tell you what, the rule here at these speedways is slower traffic. Yield high to the leaders, and we do see that driver doing that. Very big shout out to that driver right there, allowing the safe passage for our race leader, Judd Danielson and Andrew Schulte, side by side. Big shout out to our fans out there. We know that we have got Martha Tierheimer out there tonight rooting on her son, Wally. We've got our painter out there rooting on all these drivers tonight here at Remembering the Heroes. Big shout out to James out there on the All-Pro Broadcasting chat, putting in his 2 cents worth. Close call. And yes, sir, James, that was a very close call right there. Tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, if you ever have any questions out there on the broadcasting chat box, feel free to type them up and we will do our best. Your input is always welcome. We here are under green, lap 22 of 120. Judd Danielson, Andrew Schulte, Travis Browder, Mark Jackson, Wally Tierheimer, rounding out your top 5.
A lot of good, hard, tight racing so far, but Still, we've only got 7 lead changes, which doesn't sound like a whole heck of a lot, but it's a lot more considering we've only gone around this track 23 times. So, good hard fighting so far. A lot of drivers have gotten up to the
3
lead.
wide in front. 3
Lots
wide
of 3 wide.
3 wide situation.
Ooh.
The number 93 backing out of it. What we had Mark Jackson wanting to go 3 wide, backed out of it, put Scott Sanderson into a 3 wide position. And the number 93, great job of backing out of that, saving that could have been catastrophic.
Yeah, it could have been very, very bad. And now we got the 84, I believe. I just saw him dive off the track, and he's coming back up. We've got a caution.
Number 84, Len McNeese tonight, and he is in a spot of trouble. Oh my goodness, we're going to back that up. Take a look at that on our All-Pro Broadcasting replay, find out exactly what happened. And, well, ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately, Len McNeese coming back up onto the track, getting into the number 211 of Tristan Beats, and the number 13, unfortunately, pretty much getting sandwiched into the wall, the 13 being driven by Dustin Markham. I tell you what, Len McNeese, he came out, that truck was completely out of control, but unfortunate break for several drivers as Kenneth Wright in the 146 does not get through it, nor does the number 72 of Ivan Garcia or the 39 of Nathan Sylvia. Ladies and gentlemen, chaos here on lap 24.
Yeah, that definitely looks like the apron really kind of took that one away. The apron claims another one here tonight at Daytona.
Alrighty, we are watching these drivers try to limp their way back into pit row. Number 84, Len McNeese, unfortunately coming up off the track and bringing out our second caution, paying for it right now as he has got a smoking truck. So Len McNeese will be having to drop to the rear of the field. This will bring out our second caution of the evening tonight. Now these drivers right now going into pit row, Cody, they've got to make some very good decisions. Talk to me about tire wear.
Tire wear around here is a lot more crucial than your typical Talladega race. Typically, you could either do 2 tires, but this might be a track where you might want to debate on doing 3 or 4 tires. My bad.
Now these drivers going into pit row, they've got some basic rules here to apply to with the pit road speeds and whatnot. Pit row speed is 60 miles per hour. Now going in, you're going to get a stop and go. Coming out, they're going to bring you back in for 15 seconds. Right now, it would be a very good idea for all of these drivers to go into pit row. We're looking at about a 20 on lap 26 going in now. Their next fuel stop will be sitting out there at about 56. Lots of green flag pit stops hoping to come through tonight, but unfortunately none yet. Now as these drivers are making their pit stops, we are going to have some lead changes up here in the front. Right now Andrew Schultz, Travis Browder, Mark Jackson making out our top 3 tonight. Going to go ahead and try to grab up our race leaders up here in the broadcasting booth for a race interview. How about it, Andrew Schultz? Have you got a copy?
Yes, sir.
How you doing tonight out here?
Doing good. How are you?
Very good. Having a good time watching you guys up here with a couple of your teammates. Talk to me about what your plans are.
Plan is just to stay out of trouble and have fun tonight. That's what it's about. Hopefully stay up towards the front and finish decent tonight.
Alrighty, well I am looking at that paint job on your truck. Now I'll tell you what, I'm going to tell you a little secret out here. You look a whole lot like Wally out there with all those fancy colors. We saw you and Wally trying to get hooked up earlier, and you got Travis up there, so great teamwork out there tonight.
Yeah, we're trying. A Chris has got the same paint too. That credit to him for painting these 3 trucks for us. And yeah, we're hoping to stick with teammates, and we all work well together. So we're hoping to stay up here towards the front and get a good finish out of this.
All right, well, good luck to you and the boys over there at Maximum Velocity.
Thank you, sir, and I just want to say thank you to all the veterans and current and future veterans out there. We really appreciate your service.
All righty, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I tell you what, Cody, these drivers out here tonight doing a good job. Second caution of the evening on lap 27, so we're hoping to see some green flag pit stops coming up. But I tell you what, these drivers are going to have to buckle down and get a little bit more patience out here tonight. How about it, Mark Jackson? You got a copy?
Hey, Scott, how you doing?
Doing pretty good. Very sharp paint job out there. Looking like a true gravedigger out here in position 2. Talk to me about what your plans are for the evening.
Man, we're just trying to survive this race, and I just want to say thanks to all the veterans out there that serve this country, because without them we wouldn't be doing what we're doing right now.
All righty, absolutely agreed. Big shout out to the Army, Navy, National Guard, Air Force, and Marines. How are you on your few? We know you just went into pit row. Now you're going to stretch this tank out. Did you take tires? Are you worrying about your tires right now? Talk to me about your plans now.
Well, it's kind of looking like we got a long way to go, so we're just kind of going to ride it out, try to stay up front, keep our track position, and hopefully have a safe race.
All right, good deal talking to you, Mark Jackson, and good luck to you and the guys over there at KMA Racing.
Thank you, Scotty. Appreciate y'all doing it, and salute to the veterans.
Mark Jackson sending a salute out there to the veterans. All right, Cody, 2 cautions in, 10 lead changes. What are you thinking right now?
I'm thinking we're getting set for a nice long green flag run. At least that's what I'm really hoping we can do, because these drivers, they know they can do it. They did it in practice, so time to see what they're really made out of.
And I tell you what, I will agree with you now. Last night, we had an amazing race out here at Talladega. We only had 4 cautions on 113 laps. And I tell you what, 90% of this field tonight was in last night's race. So you're absolutely correct. We know these drivers can do it. But like I said, this is Daytona. Now, as of yet, we have not yet seen Mr. Apron really coming into effect. The 2 cautions we've had have been from driver error away from that apron. So everybody is respecting the apron, but it is hard racing. It is the situation of rubbing is racing. But we're going to see what these boys get down to it here as we are getting ready to take lap 29. I tell you what, though, Cody, I am still so overwhelmed by these paints out here. Pace car is in, back to green flag racing here at Daytona.
You know, it's awesome to see these drivers get up to speed like they do. A lot of times we have what's considered a leader's discretion rule, but really at Daytona, as soon as you see that pace car pull down, you can count 1,000 and green flag is out. So, the restart zone is so much closer to the pit lane. These leaders don't really get much of a chance to jump. Andrew Schulte was able to jump just far enough out there to be fender to quarter to Mark Jackson, but was not able to quite complete the pass. So able to stay up in front, Mark Jackson and Andrew Schulte.
Now taking a look at Richie B in the number 87 Pizza Silverado. Brought to you by Over the Top Paints and Designs. I had told you Richie B would be up here in the front. I am telling you now, Richie B likes that 3-wide. Richie B loves that outside lane, and Richie B is being pushed on by his teammate Nathan Sylvia. So right now, and he's peaking it, Richie B is peaking that 3-wide here on lap 30. He's getting ready to go, and he moves out, backs it back in. Wow, I tell you what, I'm thinking he wants it.
I'm thinking he wants it, but he's, again, we're only on lap 30, so we've still got a lot of racing left to go tonight. So I don't know if he's going to push it 3-wide right away or right now, not really seeing the opportunity, not really seeing the chance to, but if he wants it, I know he can take it. It's just that easy.
Richie B down onto the inside as Andrew Schulte, the number 8, up to the outside. So double swap position there now. That is going to put Andrew Schulte racing side by side with his teammate Travis Browder. But hot on their heels is the number 14 of Jason Russo, our sponsor for TNT Tuesdays, ladies and gentlemen. Side by side with the number 3, Mark Jackson, Gravedigger, and that is Jason Russo's teammate. So I tell you what, we've got a lot of action up here. Teammate on teammate, teammate with teammate. Andrew Schulte right now up in front, ahead by just a half a truck length, side by side with Travis Browder.
Yeah, you're looking at max velocity row 1, KMA row 2, MV once more row 3. So really, you've got to be paying attention to the teammates on teammates working together, and a lot of the driver on driver infliction that's going on as well. Mark Jackson wants to try to get himself up to the front. He knows he can do that by pushing Andrew Schulte to the inside line, but at the same time, I know just as much that Jason really wants to get up to the front as well.
But see, now there's a problem there, Cody, with that. We got Andrew Schulte that just went down onto the inside in front of Travis Browder. But priorly, if Mark Jackson had gone 3 wide, Mark Jackson has got nobody to go 3 wide with him, because surely Nathan would not have followed him and would have been able to creep up through that middle, connecting onto the rear end of his teammate, Andrew Schulte. But now we've got Nathan Sylvia pushing hard on the number 3 and Mark Jackson. Not really much of a choice that he can do otherwise, because there's no guarantee that the 0-2 of Mitchell Reeves will follow him around Mark Jackson. A lot of decisions right now to be made. If you're going to go 3 wide, you have got to have a partner.
A little bit of close call there with a little bit of lap traffic. Not too terrible, though. Kind of mixes up the front of the field, though. It really gave Mark Jackson a huge shove going into turn 3 and 4 now. Nathan Sylvia right on his back bumper with, I believe that's Mitchell Reeves in the 0-2.
Now, Mitchell Reeves right now, rather than staying locked onto the rear end of Nathan Sylvia in the number 39, Mitchell Reeves decided to go up to the outside, but he knows that he has got the number 24 of Everett Lane to work with him. These guys are on the same radio channel, so in constant communication. And right now, the number 24 of Everett Lane pushing on the 0-2 of Mitchell Reeves to the front. Ma, we are going to the front here on lap 34. Andrew Schulte in the number 8 deciding that he wants to get up into that middle lane, but he's falling back a little bit as the number 18 of Travis Browder taking a pass. Travis Browder up to his teammate 3 wide with the lap traffic of the 211 Tristan Beats. Tristan Beats having pretty severe rear end damage as we fly past him, doing 196 miles per hour. Travis Browder side by side with Jason Russo.
Caution is out.
All right, unfortunately, that will bring out our second caution of the evening tonight as we try to find that on our All-Pro Broadcasting replay, brought to you by Gary Whitmer. Now, I tell you what, as I mentioned, this is Daytona here, and, you know, things are going to happen. We do know that the number 93 of Scott Sanderson was unfortunately collected up into that. We're going to take a look at that on our replay. It does appear Scott Sanderson was in a 3-wide position there with the 006 of Verlis Falcons and the number 74 of Wesley Whitfield. And I tell you what, Cody, they were 3 wide. Just, I do not think we could have got any closer on that 3 wide right there. And Scott Sanderson in the number 93 drifting a little bit high into the 06 of Verlis Falcons. A lot of door-to-door racing action. And as Scott Sanderson tried to regain control, came down into the side of the number 74 of Verlis, 74 of Wesley Whitfield. But I tell you what's odd, Cody. The lap traffic of Tristan Beats was actually up there minding his own business. And all 3 drivers pretty much made a pancake out of the 211 lap traffic. And just he's into the wall, and right now, my goodness, we need to call a paramedic for the 211 Tristan Beats.
Yeah, we definitely need to call something for him because it did not look like that was a very nice hit for him to take. Definitely going to have to double check and make sure he's okay with all of that jerking around he had going on inside that truck. Looked like it was a pretty violent hit, but luckily doesn't look like anything too bad for him not to continue the race.
But I tell you what, Cody, I have got to give props out there to the number 93 of Scott Sanderson. A little bit of aerial footage right there on lap 36, courtesy of the number 93 of Scott Sanderson. So I tell you what, we're going to send that off to the iRacing Olympics right there. I'm going to score that at least an 8.
Yeah, definitely an 8, possibly an 8.5. Didn't really get the landing right, but, you know, they can't ask for perfection here, right?
I tell you what, it was epic, though. I tell you what, we're going to get a driver interview in here. Joining me up in the booth, we talked to this fella quite a bit out here. Very awesome-looking driver, and it is the 02 of Mitchell Reeves. How are we doing tonight, Mitchell?
We're doing pretty good. Just happy to be up front finally.
All righty. Well, you have moved your way up here to the front. Talk to me about what's on your mind here on lap 37 of 120 underneath our third caution.
Survive, survive, survive. It's been really crazy out there so far, Scott. I'm sure that's been a fun show for the viewers so far. We made a bonehead move there on that first ever caution. We were already in front and went down pit road and got caught in a wreck, so we're already down one reset. But we got lucky and made a couple of right moves and found us back up here in first place. We're going to try to hold up here as long as we can. I'm kind of worried about my left tires right now. I didn't take 4, but it seems like it's holding up pretty well. Just happy to be here and really just happy to be a part of a race that's honoring everybody that gives us the chance to run iRacing. So just a huge shout out to all of our veterans, especially in this race today. It's really awesome to run with some of the guys that serve our country. So.
Right, great words out there. Big shout out to our military and their families as well. Now, I do know that you are bringing some real life skills out here to the track tonight. Talk to me about those real life skills and tell our fans where we can check you out.
Yeah, I do drag racing. Unfortunately, the season's already come to an end, but that's why we're here at KMA to have just about the same amount of fun as you can have in real life. I do a little bit of bracket racing in Alabama, basically around the whole entire southeast. And it's not the same thing as sitting in a car that goes about 100 miles an hour in about 6 seconds, but it's definitely about as close as you can get to it. But if you want to check me out, I'm at Mitchell Reeves on Facebook. I got a lot of live videos from this prior year. And we're getting everything ready to go for next year. And until then, we're going to race our butts off here at KMA and have some great racing.
All righty, copy that. Now, is there anybody out here you're in radio comms with that you're working with?
I'm kind of working with Wesley Whitfield and Verlis. Basically, I'm by myself tonight. Wesley's the main guy from Southeast tonight. But it's sometimes it's kind of a better thing to be by yourself because you don't have to worry about trying to get 3 or 4 people clear where maybe you can take some more moves on your own. But at the end of the race, it's really good to have somebody behind you that knows going to be loyal. But that's just the fun part to Daytona, Scott, and Talladega. You never know what's going to happen, and that's mainly the reason we have 40 people here. Everybody loves the excitement and the intensity that you bring here to a super speedway.
All right, copy that, and thank you for your kind words, and good luck to you, sir.
Thanks, Scott.
Have fun tonight. All right, I tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, check out Mitchell Reeves out there on Facebook, bringing real-life skills out here to the track tonight. One more quick driver interview. My good friend, Everett Fastlane Racing tonight in the number 24. Looking good out there, showing your support. Great-looking truck. Talk to me, Everett.
Hey, how you doing tonight, Scott? Chevy Silverado is running pretty darn good tonight. I want to thank all the vets and the military out there that's making my freedom free. And one from the back came to the front, and I'm going to try to help out Mitchell here, see if we can't do something up here.
All righty, so you were working with Mitchell. Great job tonight. I see you've got a couple other drivers out there, Rex, Kenneth, and Donald Stewart. Big shout out to you showing your support here in the Remembering the Heroes 300.
Thank you, Scott, for everything you guys do over here at KMA. It's a pleasure to be over here tonight. I want to throw a thank you to my brother out there who's watching, and let's do some green flag racing tonight.
Copy that. Good luck to you, Everett.
Thank you.
Alrighty, we're getting ready to go back to some green flag racing. Mitchell Reeves, Mark Jackson, Everett F. Lane, Nathan Sylvia, Travis Browder out there in the front. Big shout out to our fans out there chatting it up on the All Pro Broadcasting chat. Michelle, John, James, All Pro Southeast. Great job out there, ladies and gentlemen. We are underneath our third caution of the night. Lap 39 of 120 here at the Remembering the Heroes 300, showing our support out there for our military and their military families. I know I've got a couple of family members out there watching tonight, and that will be watching the replay as well. So, I talk a lot here about family, Cody, and right now this is kind of like a family night. It's, with the military, they are a very tight-knit family out there. So, great race, great cause tonight. Tonight's race is brought to you by GW Graphics. And speaking of family, we have got Mom Whitmire out there rooting on her son tonight, Gary Whitmer. Pace car is in.
And right there, green flag is out. Mitchell Reeves gets off to a nice little jump, not enough as to clear Mark Jackson back on the outside line, but he will be good enough to get a nice speed entry into 1 and 2. With Everett F. Lane pushing hard on his back bumper, going through 1 and 2. Everett gets a little bit loose touching that apron, but able to save it nicely, get back up on track, and keep driving.
Everett Lane tonight driving the red, white, and blue striped Silverado, showing his love out there for the military veterans. Locked all over the rear end of Mitchell Reeves, but to his right, we've got Nathan Sylvia and Mark Jackson. Jason Russo in the number 14 Pro Automotive losing slight contact with Nathan Sylvia, but he has got his teammate, the number 66 of Edward Bray, tight on his tail right here on lap 40.
Crossing the stripe once more. Mitchell Reeves still has the lead, going 195, going into turn 1 and 2 once more. Mark Jackson fighting hard on the outside. Not sure if he's going to be going completely for the lead, or maybe he's just trying to hold that outside line up, but Mark Jackson's doing a very solid job. He's been up in the top 5 just about all night tonight, so going to see him around quite a bit more for the remaining 80 so laps.
Well, I'll tell you what, Cody, right now you've heard me talk about teams, you've heard me talk about family, but right now let's just look at Travis Browder in the number 18. He is right now working with Jason Russo on opposite team, but to his left is Richard Rose, his teammate, and Richard Rose is a sponsor of KMA. So right there's a tough position to be in for Richard Rose, but Travis Browder right now, he has got to work side by side with Richie and Jason and Nathan and Everett. He's got to work side by side with the number 41 of Greg McClendon. If you are in the top 10, you don't really want to be doing a whole lot of racing against your fellow top 10 drivers. You want to work with those drivers. Now, if you're back there in position 30, well, then it's kind of like I got to get around everybody I can. But right now, looking at Travis and Jason Russo, they're in a safe place right now. They're not going to challenge one another. They know they're coming up on some green flag pit stops, and they're going to work hand in hand and be brothers right now on lap 43.
Yeah, everybody's got to try to do their share, trying to make sure they make it to that first green flag pit stop, because they know as soon as that happens, everything is out the window. Your strategies from before, everything can be switched up just like that.
Now, I tell you one interesting little thing right here I'm getting kind of kick out of. Looking at the number 87 of Richie B. being pushed on by the number 41 of Greg McClendon. Now, Greg McClendon has his own little pizza shop out there. I believe he's out of Ohio, but do not quote me on that. But we have got Pizza Guy pushing a Pizza Guy here on lap 43 in the Remember the Heroes. And that makes me think of that Casey's commercial we see on TV about the soldier coming back and the young man handing the soldier a pizza. So pizza and a Saturday night and a military race. What more could you ask for, ladies and gentlemen?
Absolutely, that's just the American dream right there. Just trying to sit back, relax, watch your favorite race, and hopefully your favorite driver will be there at the end to win it. All depending on who your favorite driver is, that could really change things. sum things up.
Well, I tell you what, talking about your favorite driver, ladies and gentlemen, even though we are early in tonight's race, go on and type up into that broadcast chat box and tell me who you think your favorite driver is of the night. And remember, you are allowed to change your mind on that final lap. But right now, the drivers up in front, Mitchell Reeves, Mark Jackson, Everett Lane, Nathan Sylvia, Travis Browder, and Jason Russo, making out your top 6 tonight on lap 45 of 120.
Mark Jackson looks like he's going to get a good enough run through 3 and 4. Maybe he'll drop down to the inside line going into 1 and 2 this time. But then again, Mitchell Reeves gets a nice good old push from Everett F. Lane going through 3 and 4, able to stay side by side with Mark Jackson up in front.
I tell you what, just so many great-looking trucks out here tonight, Cody. I do want to cycle back through our camera angles and take a look at a couple of more of these trucks out here tonight. I do want to look at the number 32 of William Wise. William Wise sitting back in position 11th, racing side-by-side with the number 71 Dean Biney in the Ranger truck, being pushed on by the number 88 of Gary Burt. 3 more trucks out here tonight showing their support for the military, and the number 32 of Billy Wise. I tell you what, guys, we talk about our painters. Billy Wise out there in the paint booth with over-the-top paints and designs. Big runner there with Loose Lugnuts Racing League, LLN. Owner of that is John Hedrick, our painter with over-the-top. So Billy Wise out here making a very good showing tonight in the Remember the Heroes 300, showing his support military style. Position 13 on lap 47, as well as the number 71 of Dean Biney Ranger truck. You know, just so many great paints, so much great racing, such a great cause, Cody.
Yeah, it's a great cause. The votes are starting to come in now. We see Becky's gonna have to root for somebody outside of her dear boy Gary now. She's going to be rooting for Travis Browder in the number 18, and Michelle McMaster Eisenhower will be rooting on Travis along with Edward Gray. So a lot of drivers looks like they're going to be getting a lot of support from the fans out here. Mitchell Reeves seems to be a fan favorite, though John and James both rooting him on.
I tell you what, John Hedrick out there telling Billy to go, go, go tonight on lap 48. Great racing here. Hopefully we will see green flag pit stops. Back up to the front, we have got Mark Jackson abandoning that middle lane with Nathan Sylvia leading it now down in front of 02 of Mitchell Reeves. And we've got Travis Browder pushing on the rear end of his teammate, number 39, Nathan Sylvia. And I tell you what, I love the tailgate right there on the number 39 in the me truck. He's got a Cougar on the front. And on the rear end of that tailgate, Nathan Sylvia saying, I want to go fast. Travis Browder reading it 3 wide with Ivan Garcia. Lap traffic, safe passage with Ivan Garcia. Thank you, sir. But Nathan Sylvia, Travis Browder lost a little bit of momentum right there, or else Everett and Mitchell and Mark Jackson found a 5th gear on that inside lane. Oh, in a 3 wide situation right there with the 006. I believe that is Verlis. And unfortunately, Richard Brose, caution will fly. Ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately, that may have been brought out by the the 006 of Verlis. The number 006 of Verlis in a 3 wide situation there. We are trying to work this out on our replay, ladies and gentlemen, but we do know the number 41 of Greg McClendon in the 3 wide situation with the number 87 of Richard Brose. Jason Russo narrowly getting by. Cody, talk to me about what you're seeing.
Man, it just looked like Verlis ended up, it looked like he could not quite make up his mind at the very second that everybody was starting to pass him. And it was quite unfortunate because I'm not positive he didn't know the pack was bearing down on him that fast or what, because these drivers are going 20 miles per hour faster than the lap traffic that they're catching. So decisions have to be made, and they have to be good, smart, split-second decisions. And if you can't quite get what you need right then and there, this is kind of the outcome of that. It just looks like he could not make it down, and then decided that he was going to go to the high side because that is the rule here at KMA, and was not able to make it quick enough to the outside line.
Well, I tell you what, I'm looking at this again from a different angle, and we did see Burles. He was below that yellow line. Now, at one point in time, we talked about that yellow line and rocking that Toyota Tundra or Chevy Silverado, when a boat starts rocking, and he came back up onto the track. Now, as he came back up, that put the number 41 of Greg McClendon into a three-wide situation there with Richard Brose in the number 87, and threading the needle there was Greg McClendon, but unfortunately Richard Brose, not so fortunate, getting up into the wall here on lap 45, and that was all she wrote, and chaos ensued tonight. Unfortunate break for Richard Brose, unfortunate break for Burles. But I do believe he's got a backup vehicle out there, and he's going to be able to get that Chevy Silverado right back out there. But that will be our fourth caution of the night, ladies and gentlemen, on lap 51.
Yeah, lots of chaos here on lap 49, 50-ish, or my bad, 52. Just looked like a lot of drivers not positive on what was going on at the time, and it was quite unfortunate for a lot of the drivers, but this is also why we give them backup trucks, at least one or two, to suffice for the night. Really, this is the whole reason why you bring backup trucks to the track, and just in case something ensues, you really end up bringing it out and able to continue on with the race without any harm or foul done.
Alrighty, well, and we're going to take a commercial break, ladies and gentlemen. And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, at the Remembering the Heroes 300. We are underneath our fourth caution of the evening. But I tell you what, Cody, I did go down there. I did have a little chat with these drivers tonight, and I do got good feeling. I can feel it in my bones. We're going to getting some green flag pit stops. They're going to be coming up very soon. Now
yeah,
we are
I'm definitely. Go ahead. I'm definitely hoping that we do get some good green flag pit stops going in here, because that will definitely lengthen out the field and probably allow us to go caution-free from there, as long as drivers can keep their head on their shoulders and keep us going in a straight line. We'll keep them going in a straight line.
Now, I'll tell you what, real quick, before we do go green, as these drivers are coming down the backstretch at 79, 80 miles per hour. Ladies and gentlemen, on that commercial break, you saw that great commercial put out there by GW Graphics. Gary Whitmer Jr. being rooted on out here tonight by Mom Becky. I tell you what, Becky must be proud, because I tell you what, I watched that commercial right there put on for the KMA Racing event of the Remember the Heroes 300, and Gary Whitmer Jr., he has got some videography skills. I tell you what, Cody.
Yeah, it's definitely awesome to watch him do his magic when it comes down to that stuff. But you know, right now we're going to watch these drivers do their magic and hopefully go green flag from here. Mark Jackson will lead the pack to the green flag. Pace car is off and green flag is in the air. On the loud pedal he goes. Mark Jackson side by side with Mitchell Reeves going through the tri-oval.
Now we have got a newcomer up here at Top 10 land. We have got the number 41 of Greg McClendon. We haven't talked a lot or watched a lot of Greg McClendon tonight in the number 41 on our third restart of the night, sitting out there on the outside in position 4. Now, I do know one thing about Glenn. He's not Greg, not necessarily associated with any one team. He's kind of an independent owner-operator tonight, just out here representing the pizza shop. So it'll be very interesting to see whether he stays with Mitchell Reeves or whether he chooses to go 3 wide with Jason Russo.
Again, we haven't seen a lot of 3 wide, so I'm pretty sure he'll just kind of stay in line. Not really trying to test the waters right now. Again, we still have a long race to go yet. We still got, like, I believe 60-something laps to go, so we should be sitting pretty here as soon as we pass halfway. Hopefully these drivers get in and do some green flag pit stops.
Now, I tell you what, Cody, one thing these drivers do have to do the math on. Let's go on and do the math for them. We are on 56. So our next round of green flag pit stops we're hoping for, draining the tank out here, we'll be looking at lap 86, and then now we get our calculators, 96, 106, 116. Well, it's a 113 lap, or it's a 120 lap race, so under green flag, it's going to take more than one more pit stop. They're going to be 4 laps shy on our current load.
See, now this is where your math gets interesting, because you can make 32 laps. You've just got to push your truck to the absolute limit. And this is where it's going to get interesting. This is where it's going to get tough for these drivers. Because not only do you want to be in front, but you want to be with the leaders. You want to be with the leaders, but you also want to make sure you're in the draft. Saving fuel, trying to conserve, trying to save every drop you can get. No guarantees on that, though. So you really got to try to play the game by the ear. And if you can't get it, then don't. If you can, push it.
Well, now let's elaborate on that, because I tell you what, you are right. Right now, Mitchell Reeves, Mark Jackson, Travis Browder, Everett Lane, they're going to get that 30 laps to a tank because they are up here, they are pushing. But now back here in the back of the field, say the number 31 of Freeman Kelly or the number 42 of Tim B. Cox, they can do what we're calling floating. Now what it is, ladies and gentlemen, basically these guys in the back can put that truck on cruise control, and God forbid they actually did that, because there is no cruise control at 200. But basically, they're going to do what we call, they're going to 3/4 float that throttle. Now, Mark Jackson, he's got that throttle pushed through that floorboard, but now Timothy Cox, maybe not. He's only using 3/4 throttle, and what that's going to end up doing for Timothy B. Cox, he maybe can get an extra lap, possibly 3 at best, out of that tank. Now, if this goes green flag and he is counting on hanging out in the back the entire race, he can get in and out of pit road, tell his guys, hey, 2 gallons less. Give me 2 gallons less. That's going to get me 2 seconds out of pit row a little bit faster. And I tell you what, right there, the calculators are going to do the job tonight.
Yeah, you're definitely going to be playing a strategy game by the end of this if we do end up going green. But once again, we see a caution. That's going to throw all of your strategy out the window. You get those calculators back out. You're going to be redoing all of the math all over again, seeing if you need to take 1 gallon then, or half a gallon, or even taking any gallons. Really just all depends on how much you can save, knowing your fuel mileage better than anybody else. It's all going to play into the strategy game once more for these drivers.
Right now, we still have got 23 drivers out on our lead lap. William Wise back there in the number 32, trying desperately to save, to get onto the rear end of 84 Lynn McNeese and Tim B. Cox. Not really quite able to do that, and we have got a driver off into the field, the number 38 of John Estes, down into the field, back up on track by himself. Not sure what was happening with the number 38 of John Estes, but he is flying solo right now on lap 60, and solo is not where you want to be out here on a speedway, Cody.
No, another solo driver currently out there is Verlis. He will be the next person to get 1 lap down. The leaders are coming down on him extremely fast, bearing down on him 20 miles per hour faster, almost 22 now. It looks like they're going to be catching him probably pretty close to either the tri-oval or maybe the next lap around on the backstretch.
Well, and we already have had one incident tonight with, slower traffic here. But right now, they seem to be on the same page as they're coming down the backstretch. Now, we haven't talked about lap times. Now, talk to me about some laps times. I'm looking at Mark Jackson pulling down a 45.525, sitting at 198 miles per hour in that Chevy Silverado.
Yeah, you're going to be looking at him taking a, roughly a 45.5 second lap. You're going to give or take about 1/100th of a second, maybe 2/200ths of a second, somewhere around there. And then you're going to be seeing solo drivers right now like Verlis. He'll soon be picked up by the pack, but right now he's running 51 seconds, which means that he's losing roughly 6 seconds, 5.5 seconds a lap. So you're really going to have to pay attention to, how fast leaders are catching you. Ivan Garcia will be up there as well. He is soon to be a lap down, and they were catching him pretty good. 3 wide up front.
3 wide up in the front. I tell you what, that lap traffic caused a 3 wide situation, but we are free and clear. Tell you what, great job up there by our leaders, Mark Jackson, Travis Browder, side by side here on lap 63. And here comes Greg. We talked about the number 2 pizza guy because Richie B is my number 1 pizza guy. But Greg McClendon out there in the number 41, doing a very good job out here tonight, representing his pizza guy Chevy Silverado. Blaze Pizza is the name of the number 41, Greg McClendon. He is the manager for Blaze Pizza out of Ohio, I think. So big shout out to the number 41, Greg, right now, wanting into that 3 wide position, drifting up, but I think he might have been grabbing some air. We have not talked about air. What is Greg doing right now? Getting up and then getting back down.
You really got to be careful, because this is a situation in which your truck is overheating. Your temperature gauges are flashing. They're trying to say, hey, give me something that you can try to get either up there, or you don't want to get up there. You've got to focus on your temperature gauges. Got to focus on a lot of things.
I tell you what, the number 41 of Greg is side by side with the number 71, Dean Viney. Dean Viney out here representing in the Ranger Toyota, doing a very good job tonight, running a very safe race, staying a good distance off of Everett Lane in the number 24. Dean Vine in a very good position, and Mitchell Reeves down onto the nose of the number 18, Travis Browder, take possession of the lead on that inside lap. Travis Browder getting into the rear end of the 02 Mitchell Reese, pushing him. Travis, slight contact with the number 3 Mark Jackson, brings her back down, but I tell you what, they were tighter than a hair in a biscuit right there, Cody.
Yeah, they were definitely close, definitely scraping paint right there. Just looked like Travis was gonna think about going up, maybe trying to get a little bit of a different technique going on there. Did not look like he was able to do it though. Not able to clear the pass and get to the outside lane, which would have pretty easily given him the lead, considering Everett is not directly on Travis's bumper.
I tell you what, Cody, I am loving this. We are green flag on lap 66. Big shout out to the Army, the National Guard, the Marines, the Air Force, and the Navy. Big shout out to all our military, and a big shout out as well to the guys in blue. Not only our police officers out there, but our paramedics, which oftentimes are our military. Once they come out, they want to continue on serving the general public, serving our country. So they off-branch into the medical field. So big shout out to all of our heroes out there. Cody, big shout out to the fans out there. Big shout out to Michelle and James and Becky and Martha and the Army guy himself out there on the All-Pro Broadcasting chat. Green flag racing here on lap 67. Mitchell Reeves side by side with Travis Browder.
Yeah, he got the lead and he was able to jump up high. Travis looks like he was getting a little bit warm, not able to cool the engine like we said the high side was able to, so it's easier just for the person in front just to jump out of line or do something. But right now it looks like Travis is cooling his engine pretty good, right, with Everett Lane pushing him.
Now, I'm not 100% sure about this, Cody, but I think we may have seen Everett Lane having a slight magician problem. I'm pretty sure that I just seen him take a slight blink there on the internet connection of the virtual world of which we play in. Not a good thing for Everett, but right now he is solid as a rock, side by side with Mark Jackson. So right now, Cody, lap 68, we're green flag. The guys are tucked in. They're heated up. They're good to go. We are 3 wide with the lap traffic of Billy Wise. Billy Wise in the Liberty Chevy Silverado, respecting his fellow racers tonight. Thank you, Billy Wise, out there representing Loose Lug Nuts Racing. But, you know, right now on lap 69 now, Cody, when is go time?
You know, we're starting to see a lot of drivers start to question that themselves. It looks like the number 8 of Andrew Schulte, he's been up in that third lane just about the entire time now for the last 3 or 4 laps, but nobody has gone with him. Now it looks like he's going to go to the middle and try to shoot in between Jason Arusio and I believe that's the 71 of Dean Viney.
Great racing here on lap 69. And hey, Cody, that's my number right there, lap 69. We're now on lap 70 with Mark Jackson side by side with Mitchell Reeves. Now, I tell you what, you know, I got my eyes glued right now on Travis Browder. Travis Browder, young driver out here, running with maximum velocity. And I tell you what, Travis Browder, he lives racing. He breathes racing. He eats racing. Travis Browder doing a great job tonight on lap 70, being rooted on by Michelle McMaster Eisenhower, calling him Mr. Tebow.
Yeah, everybody calls him Tebow at ESPN, something different. I call him T-Bro, considering, you know, he calls me C-Bro. So, you know, it's kind of one of those things where Travis is a very well-known driver around KMA and around, you know, iRacing altogether. But really, when it comes down to it, Travis is a great driver, amazing person, and good personality, too. Really loves Kyle Busch. And, you know, I can't disagree with him when it comes around to that kind of stuff. But, you know, that's just Travis.
Well, I tell you what, Cody, I have to correct you, sir. You said that KB word out here with me, and, well, we aren't going to go down that road. I myself, I am a Harvick fan, but that's just me. But back to the reality of green flag racing. I'm just teasing to Cody. Kyle Busch, a great driver, 3-wide action up in the front as the number 15 safely. Oh, my goodness.
Carnage.
Sylvia Nathan Sylvia. Oh, we have got problems out here right now, ladies and gentlemen. We were 3 wide with the lap traffic of the number 15. Number 15 doing no wrong tonight, but up in front, Mitchell Reeves in the 0-2. We're going to look at that on our All Pro Broadcasting replay. Cody, I am absolutely stunned. We talked about that yellow line. Now we're going to back up our cameras here with All Pro Broadcasting and GW Graphics. We're going to take a very close look at Mitchell Reeves. Appears, Cody, that Mitchell Reeves left front, taking a date night with that yellow line. And we had talked about that yellow line, and slight tug of the wheel gets that Silverado loose and takes a right turn up into the number 39 of Nathan Sylvia. Now, interestingly enough, he ghosted through the number 3 of Mark Jackson. Well, thank goodness we have ghosts here at iRacing. That would have been a bad one for Mark Jackson, but Nathan Sylvia caught up into it. Jason Russo in the number 14 taking a ride. The number 8, Andrew Schulte, going for a ride as well. And the lap traffic of Zach Coyer. Well, I'm not sure if Zach Coyer got much damage out of that or not, but that was no fault of Zach Coyer. Ladies and gentlemen, stunner here on lap 71 with Mitchell Reeves.
Yeah, it just looked like Mitchell had a little bit of contact with that yellow line. We said earlier, like you said, he just ended up just barely touching the apron, but was not a huge problem. Just minor details, minor problems, and minor mistake ended up costing a lot of drivers a pretty big accident there.
All right, well, I tell you what, look at these drivers going into pit row. Mark Jackson, our race leader, Travis Browder, going into pit row as well. Everett, Dustin, Wally, Dean, Judd, Andrew, all these drivers going into pit row. I tell you what, taking a breather here on lap 74, ladies and gentlemen, of the Remember the Heroes 300 here at Daytona.
Yeah, it's definitely been a busy race, busy night all the way around, and a lot of drivers trying to get in, get out, take 4 tires, take 2 tires.
Alrighty, I tell you what, we're going to get a couple of driver interviews in right now. Our race leader, Mark Jackson. How about it, Mark Jackson?
Hey Scott, how you doing, brother?
I tell you what, you were looking pretty good out there in that Mark Jackson number 3 Gravedigger, brought to you by Over the Top Paints and Designs. But right now, you are our race leader on lap 74. Looking at about 46 laps to go. Talk to me about what is on your mind.
Well, Scotty, we're just trying to keep track position up here. We've been racing pretty hard, and you know, I know we got a long way to go, but just trying to keep our track position up here.
So Mark, you've had a pretty good run so far tonight. You've been able to avoid a lot of the wrecks. Car handling okay. I mean, did you take 2 tires, 4 tires? Pit strategies for the rest of the race? What are you planning on it?
Tire wear's been pretty good, so we're gonna leave that up to the crew chief on that final stop when we go green here. This race has that green flag stop feeling to it, so hope it comes down to that. Hopefully we can have a good one at the last on the last one. If not, then we're just going to try to stay up here and do the best we can.
10-4, Mark. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your patience. Hopefully you can be there at the end. Good luck, bud.
Thank you, brother. Just want to say
all right, thank you for your time, Mark. Good luck out there. Now, joining us in the booth right now, ladies and gentlemen, is the number 71 of Dean Viney. Dean, have you got a copy?
Yeah, I got you. How we doing there, Scott?
Doing a great job. How are you doing out there tonight? I see you're looking good out there in that Ranger Toyota. Great paint job. Talk to me about your race. Talk to me about your sponsor. Talk to me about that great paint job.
Oh, yeah, the 82nd or 32nd Airborne Ranger Battalion here. Toyota truck has been running pretty good tonight, actually. Can't complain there. Race has been pretty decent, really, all in all. You know, a lot of, still a lot of laps left. Hopefully we can get some good green flag runs here and see if we can't find somebody to, as you got to dance with somebody in this race, and hopefully we can hook up later here and find somebody to dance with and see if we can't take this Airborne Ranger Toyota to the front maybe here later on, we hope.
Alrighty, copy that. Now, you have got military experience, is that correct?
Yes, I do. Yeah, I've been in the station there at Fort Lewis there for a while with the 82nd Airborne Ranger Battalion.
Alrighty, copy that. Well, I tell you what, tonight's race is all about you, all about your brethren out there. I want to give you a very big shout out there. We've been talking about the Army and the Navy and the National Guard and all those boys, but I tell you what, out here representing the Rangers, big shout out to everything you do, have done, will continue to do, and all the brothers out there in our military. Thank you, Dean Viney, number 71, Ranger Toyota.
Thank you there, Scott. And kudos out there to all the military brothers out there.
Yes, sir. Great job tonight, Dean. Good luck to you. I tell you what, great race tonight, great cause out there, great paint jobs out there tonight, Cody. And I tell you what, again, you will hear me talk about the family and out there with our military. As I mentioned before, I come from a very deeply rooted military family. And, oftentimes when my niece Katie is talking to her husband Jack, who is out there in the middle of the, well, I don't even think it's the Atlantic or the Pacific. I think it's probably an ocean I can't even pronounce. But, we've got this great thing called Skype, and, the sacrifices that these guys make for us, not only, the major sacrifice with the risk of their own lives, but my nephew, niece's husband, Jack, he's unfortunately raised most his three boys and girl from Skype, so the sacrifices that these guys make out here, taking care of our freedom, I tell you what, Cody, it's very touching.
Yeah, it's phenomenal work that they're able to perform, and the pressures they perform under. Speaking of pressures that are going to be performing here, Mark Jackson back up in the lead. Pace car is off, and 1 second, green flag is flying.
And away
back on the loud pedal.
And away we go. We have got number 3, Mark Jackson, side by side with Everett, Fast Lane Racing, Dustin Markham in line, along with TNT sponsor Jason Musso in the Pro Automotive red and white Chevy Silverado. But here comes the Hardy Mobile, Mr. Berger himself, number 57, being rooted on by Mom Tierheimer here tonight with the Remember the Heroes. And one more time, here is Mitchell Reeves. I do not believe Mitchell Reeves has dropped below a P6 position tonight, Cody.
No, I don't think he has. In fact, I believe this is the farthest back he's been all night as he's fighting his way, has fought his way all the way back up to the front of the pack and, back to P6, back up to the front, back to the, P5 and so on and so forth. Right now I don't expect him to go back any further. I believe that he will do nothing but go forward as he pursues his journey onward through this next 43 laps.
And I tell you what, we had talked about that go time, and go time we will see. Looking at the number 146 of Kenneth Wright, side by side with Edward Bray in the number 66. Another great paint job out there by Over the Top Paints and Designs, the number 146 tonight, representing the military, being pushed on by the Ranger truck, the number 71 of Dean Viney. Unfortunately, not sure what happened to Travis Browder, but he is out for the evening. Bad break for Travis Browder, but onward to Green Flag Racing back up here in the front as the number 146 of Kenneth Wright, side by side now with Richard Brose. And I tell you what, Richard Brose is the sponsor for our Monday Night Mania. Now, I tell you what, it is a joy to see, for me personally, Cody, to see my sponsor, Jason Russo, and my sponsor, Richard Brose, both right now hanging out in top 7 land. I tell you what, right now, Cody, I am a proud papa right now.
10-4 on that. Can't wait for this race to really start getting heated up because, those two will more than likely end up working together at some point in tonight's race. And, it's not like they haven't before. They definitely know how each other's workout is, and it'll all just depend on how much they can get hooked up and how far they can go forward.
Interesting move at the front as the number 13 of Dustin Markham abandons the inside lane being led by Mark Jackson, jumps up into the front of the middle lane being led by Everett Lane. So now Dustin Markham is our race leader on the middle lane. Interesting choice right there by Dustin Markham, trying to come down. Close call, close racing as the number 24 slides tighter than a hair in a biscuit across the front end of Mark Jackson. Mark Jackson trying to pull both lanes and back up front. And number 57, Wally Tierheimer, in trouble. Ladies and gentlemen, unfortunate break in the front as the number 57 of Wally Tierheimer. Well, Wally and Jason, I tell you what, we are going to look at that on our All-Pro Broadcasting replay. Not sure if it was Wally, not sure if it was Jason. Tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, don't quite frankly give a care. Both of these drivers, great driving, and Cody rubbing his racing, but upon further inspection of that, it unfortunately does appear that the number 14 of Jason Russo drifting down a little bit too tight into the side of number 57 of Wally Tierheimer. We caught it live here, ladies and gentlemen, at All Pro Broadcasting.
Yeah, it just looks like the slightest bit of contact kind of changed that neck code into an extreme hard hit and kind of turned Wally back up into the wall, and very negative consequences once again here tonight at Daytona.
I tell you what, the 146 of Kenneth Wright caught up into it, just barely though, as the number 66 of Edward Bray doing everything he can to save it, but taking the number 71 Dean Viney truck for a ride. But I tell you what, look at this driving by the number 74 Wesley Whitfield as he narrowly misses the rear end of the number 66 of Edward Bray. Unfortunate late minute caution here. The number 88 of Gary Burt going through the grass and coming back up into the number 57 of Wally Tierheimer, who at that point in time was not too badly damaged, but Gary Burt nowhere to go, no way to save it, and again synchronized flips here by the 88 Gary Burt and 57 Wally Tierheimer on lap 81 of the Remember the Heroes 300. And I tell you what, that will be the Remember the Caution here, lap 81.
As we saw, some of the drivers ended up going into pit road here. It looked like the primary one that did end up going into pit road was Dustin Markham, your leader, which now your current race leader is Everett F. Lane, followed by Mark Jackson, Richard Brose, Mitchell Reeves rounding out your top four.
I tell you what, taking a look at our All-Pro Broadcasting chat, we've got a fan up there right now starting her prayers out. Big shout out to Michelle McMaster Eisenhower. Talking about Jesus, man, that was bad. And I tell you what, that was pretty bad right there. But you know what, Cody? This is Daytona. This is racing. Rubbing is racing. And again, back to the family thing. I'll tell you a little known secret here with myself, Cody. Half the guys on my team, at one point in time, I personally have wrecked. I think I've wrecked you, and I know, Cody, you have wrecked me. But I tell you what, that is the nature of the game. And as long as we can all walk away from tonight's race smiling and shaking hands and remembering that it is about the heroes tonight, we all want to win it. But I tell you what, if we walk away happy tonight, and I tell you what, our wives give up a lot for our racers out here tonight. You know, big shout out to the ladies out there. They give up so much to allow their heroes to race. But, you know, we're all winners here tonight as long as we all can walk away quite happy.
Yes, sir, definitely. Everybody has to walk away smiling. You know, I'm kind of smiling because we're closing in on our final chance for green flag fuel run here. 38 or so to go, 37 closing in on, and looks like we'll probably be going green about 35 or so to go.
All righty. Well, joining us up in the booth right now, Richard Brose. Now I know Richard Brose, very quiet guy, so we're not gonna make him in pain a whole lot here tonight. But I tell you what, you are top 3, so thereby I got to talk to you, Richie. Talk to me real quick about your race, Richie B.
I'm just staying in it. I got caught up in one of the wrecks and was able to get it fixed and come back out. Now it's like a war zone up here, and you just gotta. I just want to get towards the end to be able to finish.
All right, copy that. All right, I appreciate the time here, Richie. I know you're a man of a few words, but I will speak to you. Big shout out for you sponsoring out our Monday Night Mania. And I tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, if you're ever in the mood for great pizza and you are within 100 miles, if you're within 1,000 miles of Dothan, Alabama, you need to go into Richie B's Pizza. Tell them Scott will send you, and I guarantee you will have the best pizza that you have ever had. Thank you, Richie B, for all you do with the KMA Racing Monday Night Mania Series.
Thank you, Scott. I can do a monologue on pizza if you want. That I know.
I love pizza, and I tell you what, one of these days I'm going to get down there, but you better not overcharge me, Richie.
Freebie, don't worry, freebie.
All righty, you heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. I get a free pizza with Richie B's Pizza. Thank you, Richie. Good luck to you tonight.
Thanks, Scott. Thank you very much.
We are 1-2 green, so now the driver's lining up double file in turn 1 and 2, getting ready to go back to green flag racing. Can't wait for this one to kick off, man. It is looking like it's going to be a good restart.
Now, I tell you what, we've got a newcomer up here to top 10 land. We've got the number 74 of Wesley Whitfield showing his support tonight out here for our armed forces, our military. Looking very sharp in that great paint job out there. Brought to you by Over the Top Paints and Designs. Big shout out to our fans. Real quick announcement coming up for the second weekend of December for Michelle McMaster Eisenhower. Gave me a great idea. We are going to do a mom's race. Ladies and gentlemen, don't quote me on the date, but I think it is Saturday the 12th. It is the second Saturday. By Michelle McMaster Eisenhower. Round up your girlfriends. We're going to do a race, live broadcast with All Pro Broadcasting for Michelle McMaster Eisenhower and all the ladies behind the scenes. And I tell you what, we are getting ready to go back to green flag racing. Here it comes, ladies and gentlemen. You've been waiting for it. Giggity, 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 boogity, boogity. Let's go back to green flag racing here at Daytona.
Pace car is off, and 1 millisecond later, green flag is out. People are on the loud pedals going for hold here.
Richie B getting busy all over the rear end of Everett Lane. I tell you what, I think Richie B is trying to reach through his windshield and put a pizza in the rear end of that Silverado being driven by Everett Lane. This is great, Cody. Talking about go time, we still 85, 95, 105. We have still got to have that shot at green flag pit stops. These drivers have got to get to right around 85, 95, 105, 115. Actually, right now, if they pitted, they have got enough fuel, Cody.
Not quite. They're about 5 laps short of that fuel. And, you know, we talked about it earlier on how you could save 2 laps, maybe 3 max. You know, you're going to try to save 5. You can do it. It's not impossible. It's been done before. It's just going to depend on how much and where you're at in the pack.
We've got Richie B to the front in a great move on lap 86. Ladies and gentlemen, Richie B to the front, side by side with Mark Jackson, getting a big boost. Caution is out as Richie B goes into the front. That caution does come out. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a look at Joel Guy. Unfortunately, I do believe that Joel Guy might have been caught up into that. Oh, no, ladies and gentlemen, my bad. My bad. It was the number 88 of Gary Burt. Gary Burt tonight, unfortunately, bringing out our 7th caution of the evening.
Yeah, it just looks like a single car spin there. Gary just ended up getting into the left rear of Joel Guy on the restart. Not quite far enough centered, and you got to be very careful when you do this because a little bit of tap the wrong way can send a person spinning very fast. Joel was very fortunate, was able to keep it off the wall and everything all the way up until he started drifting back up the track, was not able to get it slowed down in time. A little bit of rear end damage, but for the most part, the truck looks like it is still in good running condition.
Well, unfortunate break there for Joel Guy in the number 91. That is definitely a downer. It's bad enough when that caution does come out, but right there we had Gary Burt and Joel Guy. Now, they are both teammates here with KMA Racing, and, kind of a little ironic situation here, Cody. I've talked about how I've wrecked you, you've wrecked me. Right now, Gary Burt, Joel Guy, teammates. You know what? I'm going to give you all I got. I'm going to give it to you. I'm going to give you my heart, my soul. I'm going to give you my blood. And if I turn you in the process of that, well, you definitely would expect me to do no less. And that is what happened right there. We saw the number 88 of Gary Burt giving his teammate Joel Guy but one slight, just 1 mile per hour too fast, one less chuck up, and wham bam, thank you ma'am, we're going for a ride. But you know what? Again, family, again, military, again, brotherhood. But this is our 7th caution of the night here at the Remember the Heroes 300.
Man, as you were saying all of that, some of the most interesting pit strategies ever to take place here at Daytona just went on. I mean, you saw the front 2 stay out, then the next 2 go in, the next 2 stay out, then the next 2 go in. Lots of different strategies here. Lap 85, you can... This is going to be a tough one because you think you can stretch it, you're going to think you can save enough. You're going to have to try to save as much as possible, but right now the people in the back, they're going to have more than plenty of fuel to smash the gas as hard as they possibly can, go 3 wide, and get up to the front as fast as possible. But those people in the front, they're going to have to play the strategy. They're going to have to try to play the game so that way they don't lose any fuel that is unnecessary to lose. So, it's going to be one of those things where this is some very, very thick strategy going on right now.
All right, now I tell you what, we have talked to a lot of drivers tonight. I want to talk to a new guy. I've actually never talked to this driver, but tonight we're going to talk to this driver. We're going to get real acquainted here with Zach Coyer. Zach Coyer driving the number 15 tonight. How are you doing, Zach?
Doing pretty good. How about you?
Doing very good. Looking at you out here right now in position 14. Been doing a great job, but more importantly, I want to talk about your paint job. You messaged me today that you have got somebody involved with the military. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, my paint scheme is dedicated to my cousin who is a Army Ranger, 1st Battalion. He passed away in 2012, so I figured it'd be cool to have a paint scheme dedicated to him tonight.
All righty, copy that. Well, all of our big love and all of our respect for your family member. Do you care to share his name?
Yes, it was Staff Sergeant Ryan Coyer.
Staff Sergeant Ryan Coyer, and he is with the Rangers.
Yes, sir. 75th Regiment, 1st Battalion, the baddest of the bad.
Alrighty, now, can you educate me a little bit about the Rangers? We hear about the Marines, we hear about the National Guard. Talk to us about the Rangers.
Well, pretty much they're the first to go in and the last to leave. They take care of everything, make sure everybody's tip and top span before everything else goes on. Pretty much they're the guerrilla warfare guys. They take care of everything.
The badasses of the badasses.
Pretty much.
Alrighty, well I tell you what, did you paint that truck up or was that a truck done by a painter?
No sir, this was a truck done by Robert Barber Paint Designs, a buddy of mine that I know very good and well, and I had him put this together for me. It's very, 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 very good, I would say.
Robert Barber Paint Designs.
Yes, sir.
Now, can we check him out on Facebook? Has he got a website?
Yes, sir. I believe he has a Facebook page. It's Barber Designs, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I'm pretty sure it'll be around there. Sorry about that, Robert, if I messed that up for you.
Alrighty, well, I tell you what, you go on and you message Robert Barber and tell him that we talked about him here on lap 89 of the All Pro Broadcasting live showing of the Remember the Heroes. Good luck to you tonight, Zach, and again, sir, God bless you, you and your family, and your dearly departed member out there gave his life for our country. Big shout out to the Ranger number 15, Zach Colbert-Coyer.
Thank you, Scott.
All righty, ladies and gentlemen, we have never talked to Zach. I am glad I talked to Zach. We were talking to Zach right there, and, unfortunately, heroes are named heroes for a reason there, Cody, and right there is a prime example, as I mentioned earlier. My brother, my sister, my aunt, my uncle, my mom, they all made it back from their time and their tour of duty. But ladies and gentlemen, do remember, especially now in a time of political turmoil here with the United States of America, it is a divided country, but we have got to stand behind our heroes, because our heroes, they are politically neutral. They are politically just trying to stay out of the mess. They don't represent the left. They don't represent the right. They represent the USA. They represent the United States of America. So no matter what, ladies and gentlemen, we've got drivers out there, or not drivers, no, none of my drivers, but we have got protesters out there burning up that American flag. Well, the drivers out here tonight, they died for that right, for those protesters to have the right. Whether you agree with it or not, it is not about them. Right now, ladies and gentlemen, it is about the veterans, the military. Right now, tonight, these are the guys that give us the right to do what we choose to do. Back to Green Flag Racing here as Richard Rose, very strong up in that lead, side by side with Mark Jackson and the number 2 pizza guy, Greg McClendon. They're doing a great job. He is side by side with the number 85 of Judd Danielson. Back to Green Flag Racing here on lap 91 of 120. So 29 laps. You know what, Cody? It is go time.
It is go time, but still you have to remember your fuel consumption here, gentlemen. You did waste about a half a gallon, maybe a full gallon, trying to get around the track the last couple laps, and now you saved enough fuel. Now you're hoping you saved enough fuel to make it the rest of the way. Now you're trying your hardest to stay up in the lead, but you're still looking in your mirror trying to figure out who's got who, who's got what, and who's going to be helping you out in the end.
Now, I tell you what, Cody, really cool here, and I just got really super excited. Number 32, William Wise, back on that lead lap. He had fallen a lap down. I'm not sure about what his fuel load is, but William Wise in the Liberty Chevy Silverado, number 32 tonight, back on that lead lap. And not only is he on that lead lap, he is back up there in position 5, side by side with the number 8 of the number 8 being driven tonight by Andrew Schulte. Great job to Billy Wise as he gets a boost from the red, white, and blue Chevy Silverado. Everett Lane, contact with Richard Brose. Richard Brose going for a ride in the pit row with contact with the number 41 of Greg McClendon here on lap 93. Going to take a quick look at that, but we are under Green Flag Racing. That did not fly the caution. I tell you what, Cody, racing incident with Richard Rose and Greg McClendon. I can't tell who went up. I can't tell who went down. Really don't care. We are still under Green Flag Racing as Mark Jackson and the number 2 of Mitchell Reeves being bore down on by the number 8.
Yeah, the number 8, he is actually 2 laps down, which is why I'm guessing you're trying to find him on your results page before. Andrew Schulte, a couple laps down, looking to try to get those laps back. He is going to work his way up there the hard way. And now, as Mitchell Reeves and Mark Jackson start working on the inside line together and start trying to get each other acquainted and put themselves up there into the lead, into winning position. Mark Jackson up to the high side, Andrew Schulte up to the third line now. 3 wide in the front.
But I tell you what, teamwork is going to be everything right now. 3 wide, but Andrew Schulte not having the teamwork. Whoop. Billy Wise, are you going up? No, Billy Wise not going up to help the number 8. Billy Wise, a man on his mission, trying to get onto the rear end of the number 74 of Wesley Whitfield tonight, representing out of Southeast Motorsports. Now, I'll tell you what, we have seen a lot of action here with Southeast Motorsports in broadcast past. Would not surprise me if that number 74 Chevy Silverado does make it into a top 3 tonight. But Andrew Schulte and Nathan Sylvia taking it 3 wide. We are 3 wide. Ladies and gentlemen, I promised you 3 wide action here at Daytona. Here we go as Nathan Sylvia, Andrew Schulte 3 wide with Mark Jackson, Mitchell Reeves, Everett Lane, the monkey in the middle in the red, white, and blue side by side with the number 85 of Judd Nelson.
Mark Jackson able to get a nice run off of the tri-oval going down the front stretch, hoping that Everett's got a little bit more left with him, trying to push him up to the lead. Not positive if he's going to go to the outside, try to pass Andrew Schulte and stay with him, or go to the inside. Maybe he's going to stay in the middle. Right now, nobody really knows what's going through that driver's mind except for that driver.
I tell you what, big shout out to our fans out there. We have got David Everly out there joining us in the All-Pro Broadcasting chat. Ladies and gentlemen, All-Pro broadcasting 2 channels, 2 races, side by side. You have got choices. You have got your picks of the litter with All-Pro Broadcasting. All-Pro Broadcasting, the busiest broadcaster on the face of the iRacing planet. We are 3 wide with Mitchell Reeves, Mark Jackson, Andrew Schulte. I tell you what, once again, that red, white, and blue Everett Lane, the monkey in the middle, side by side with the number 74 of Wesley Whitfield. Green flag here on lap 97. Wesley Whitfield rocking that apron, dropping that apron, losing momentum. We were off to a 6-truck runaway here on lap 97.
That 6-truck runaway is not going to last for very long. They're punching an extremely big hole in the air, allowing the drivers behind them to gain a couple miles per hour on them. We're only running 194 in the front, where we're running 196 in the back, so you're able to get quite a big speed difference going up through this pack. You're watching a lot of drivers fight side by side. Dustin Markham looks like he'll be the next one to try for that little push in the middle, or on the bottom now.
And I tell you what, let's not count out. Oh, trouble up in the front. Mark Jackson for a ride, the number 85, Judd. I tell you what, Cody, I'm looking at that. I got to make a tough call right here, but it does appear that the number 85 of Judd Danielson, maybe, possibly, I don't know, I want verification, coming up into the rear quarter panel of the Gravedigger, Mark Jackson. And I tell you what, Cody, as it appears that Judd clipped Mark Jackson, as he got clipped, unfortunately Mark Jackson came down and clipped off the rear end of Mitchell Reeves. My goodness, heartbreaker for Mitchell Reeves, Mark Jackson, Judd Danielson, and the number 13 of Dustin and the 74 Wesley, Billy Wise, a victim. The 84 going for a ride. Chaos here on lap 98, Cody.
You know, that is the one of the things with Daytona is as long as you've got drivers driving, you're going to have more and more big ones. And, you know, right here, the 2 luckiest people on earth right now are Nathan Sylvia and Andrew Schulte. They were not only able to get through that wreck cleanly, but they are now actually back 1 lap down. So, you know, now they're going to be fighting for that lucky dog position. Not only, you know, being clean through that, they were able to get their lap back.
Well, I tell you what, you know, that is a heartbreaker here, and right now I'm sure, well, I tell you what, we've seen Tony Stewart do it out there in the virtual world. I'm pretty sure that a couple drivers got a helmet thrown at them right there, but I tell you what, we'll be right back out at this tomorrow night. If not here, then on another broadcast by All-Pro Broadcasting. But I tell you what, Cody, once again, rubbing is racing. So right now we're going to cater to one of our favorite fans out there. We're going to get a talk in with our favorite son. Right now we do have Wally Tierheimer driving the number 57 Hardy Mobile. How about it, Wally? Talk to me, talk to Cody, talk to Mom.
Yeah. Hey guys, it's kind of hard to hear because there's a lot of talking going on in the room, but it's been one of those races. I've gotten my lap back twice. I felt like a pinball out there. I've hit stuff I shouldn't have hit, and I've missed stuff I should have hit. It's been crazy, and now I seem to be in second place right here behind Everett, and I think I'm in a pretty good position at this point. I got just enough gas, I believe. And then I'm ready to do these last 20 laps, man.
Hardy, well, I tell you what, I'm not sure if she is still out there watching, but she was watching. So let's talk to her like she is watching. Let's talk to Mom Tierheimer.
Well, you know what? She's my biggest cheerleader out there. It's always it's a lot more fun knowing someone's out there watching. You know, my wife tunes in once in a great while, but my mom's always there whenever she can. 9 out of 10 times she's watching. So it's I appreciate it, love her, and appreciate her watching. And I just want to say thanks to all the veterans too. That's what this is all about. And we got me and Chris Voiles and Andrew Schulte have our stars and stripes on to commemorate it, even though we have a little bit of our own little sponsors on there too. But great race tonight.
10-4, thank you, Wally. Any last final comments? You know, your race going pretty good so far. Anything else you want to wrap up with?
I'm gonna just try to stay calm and, try to stay calm and stay out of trouble, man. I'll be up in the front and the outside, and the way if I know Everett, we'll be up there neck and neck for several laps. So
10-4, good luck, buddy. Hope you get the win tonight. Definitely looking forward to seeing that Hardy's Mobile up in front.
All right, man. Thanks, Cody.
All righty, we have also got Tim B. Cox up here in the booth with All Pro Broadcasting. How about it, Tim B. Cox? Have you got a copy?
Yeah, I got you guys.
Now, you are sitting back here in number 3 position, looking very good. I want to hear about your race, and I want to hear about that great paint job, showing our support for our military out there tonight.
Well, I didn't really get a chance to qualify. We had some server issues, so we started in the back, and that was my whole strategy from the get-go, was to stay in the back and avoid these wrecks. Now, got around like 18 to go, so we're going to try and stick it up front here.
All righty, copy that. Now, talk to me about that great paint job we're looking at.
This is by over-the-top paints. I found it on Trading Paints. I really didn't have a chance to get a custom one made, but got a friend of mine who is in the Air Force, and want to wish all the veterans out there a happy Veterans Day.
All righty, copy that. Doing a great job out here tonight. Anybody you are racing with, or what communication channel are you in? Who you're working with?
Basically a loner out here tonight. Been just working here by myself. Whoever's in front of me, that's who I'm working with.
Alrighty, copy that. Tim Cox running solo tonight, showing his support with the We Remember number 42 U.S. Air Force. Thank you, Tim Cox, and good luck to you, brother.
Thanks, guys.
As we are now on 1 to green, it looks like we're going to have a pretty solid lineup here for the last couple laps. We're definitely going to be fighting hard on the outside line and definitely hard on the inside line, trying to figure out who's going to win that race. But really, the race that's going to be remembered is the race on the very outside line. I expect a lot of 3-wide action. We saw it earlier. It was working pretty well for the lap down drivers, getting their lap back, but still, it's 3-wide at Daytona. Going to have to be very careful. A lot of good racing left. Still got a lot of laps left too, so a lot of drivers in the back I wouldn't worry too much about, but still options here at Daytona.
Well, I tell you what, we are on lap 102. We have had 34 lead changes. We have got 8 cautions, and I tell you what, right now, Michelle McMaster Eisenhower showing her love out there for Mr. Rock and Roll. Hey, Billy. Doing a great job tonight, talking about Billy Wise. John Hedrick talking about Tim needing to hook up on Facebook. And, John Hedrick, great job out there with the paints. Billy Wise out there showing his love for Michelle. All Pro Broadcasting with the flags. Big shout out to David Everly All Pro Broadcasting Channel 2, and we're getting ready to go out to Green Flag Racing. Everett Lane, Wally Tierheimer, pace car in, side by side. Boogity, 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 Cody. Let's go.
Once again, back to Green Flag Racing. Guys are back on the lot, pedals getting ready to go, and they are going really hard, fighting on the inside line right now, getting a good run into turn 1 and 2. Did not look like Wally was able to get off to the jump that he would like, but now he's got Mark Jackson on his back bumper, pushing for everything he has got, and now it looks like the inside line still has a little bit more speed, but the outside's quickly gaining.
Well, I tell you what, we have got the number 13 of Dustin Markham bumper humping on the number 42 of Tim B. Cox, bumper humping with the number 24 of Everett Lane. And I tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, it is now time to get your voter picks in. Talking about David Everly out there, John Hedrick, Michelle McMaster, Becky Whitmer, Wally Tierheimer. Talk to me, ladies and gentlemen, who you think is going to win the Remember the Heroes. If you're not signed into that All Pro Broadcasting chat, it's okay. Go on and talk to me anyway. Wally Tierheimer out there by a nose. I tell you what, Cody, this is like the Kentucky Derby right now with Everett and Wally. Everett Lane ahead by a horse's hair.
Yeah, right now you've got a lot of fighting back and forth. All the inside line will get the run through the corners. The outside line will get the run through the straights. And you know, really, it's anybody's race because Daytona, you are exactly centered in that tri-oval. So you can get it all the way down to the tri-oval, but you still no guarantees on who's going to be the winner of the race yet. So now you're going to have to figure out who you're going to go with. Looks like Dustin Markham's going to go to the outside. Now the outside line is going to have 4-2. Now Wally Tierheimer's going to drop to the bottom.
Wally Tierheimer down to that inside lane, trying to hook up with the red, white, and blue of Everett Lane. Now, I tell you what, all right, Cody, I'm going to ask our fans out there, Michelle McMaster Eisenhower, telling the boys, fight nice, kiddos, fight nice here on lap 105. But I tell you what, right now we have got Wally and Everett challenging Mark Jackson and Dustin. Caution is out. My goodness, ladies and gentlemen, freeze frame. We're going to go back, try to find that out on our All Pro Broadcasting replay, brought to you by GW Graphics. And we do know that the number 41 of Greg McClendon was caught up into that. I don't know if Greg was to blame or not. We're going to rewind that on our All Pro Broadcasting replay. Ladies and gentlemen, does not appear that it was Greg McClendon. We're looking at contact with the number 15. Number 15 of Zach Coyer. Unfortunate break for Zach Coyer in the number 15 Ranger truck. But I tell you what, it appears that the number 85 of Judd Danielson getting into the rear end of Zach Coyer. I don't know, Cody, that was pretty tight to tell.
Yeah, it just looked like he went up maybe into the third lane, and that's really questionable maybe. Really, it just looked like a lot of tight, hard racing, and, you know, Judd just could not call that one perfectly. Honestly, no real blame on that one.
But I tell you what, you know, I feel really sorry for, well, we've been calling him Pizza Guy number 2, only because I love my Pizza Guy number 1, Richard Brose, weak link. But the number 41, Greg McClendon, did everything he could to avoid that. But Greg McClendon tonight, unfortunately, caught up into a late caution on lap 105, running for Blaze Pizza, doing everything he can. But thank goodness the number 43, Stars and Stripes, was able to avoid that.
You know, I'm looking at the leaderboard, and right now I'm looking at Wally Tierheimer. He started 7th and currently in P1. Mark Jackson started P1 and is now in P2. Everett F. Lane, I believe our second biggest mover, actually, qualified 31st and is currently in 3rd. Justin Markham in 4th and qualified 4th. And right now, the biggest mover tonight is Tim B. Cox with started 36 and finished 5th.
All righty, I tell you what, this will be our 9th caution, but Cody, that does not really surprise me here at Daytona. And I tell you what, 9, whoa, that's a big number. But I tell you what, let's look at them lead changes. We've had 34 lead changes, so let's talk about the numbers. Because you know what, the 9th caution, that's a little number. We have had 9 cautions. We've had 35 lead changes. We have had lap times of down into damn near the 48s, 49.973 by Wally Tierheimer on his last lap. We have had, just an amazing, great night of racing, and the most important number of all, ladies and gentlemen, the numbers of our active and retired military veterans out there. And I don't know if my sister is watching, but I'm going to give you one more important number here, and this is real life, ladies and gentlemen. This is important. My little sister, and I call her my little sister for a reason. She is a big dog out there with the National Guard here in Springfield, Illinois, and she stands 5'3", and she's going to give me hell. And I tell you what, if she watches this, she's going to give me hell. But at 5'3", my little sister out there was over there in Afghanistan, and she was building the schools out there, and she's employed by the National Guard. And I tell you what, great leader, great military personnel. And I tell you what, we talk about the numbers here. My younger sister, Cheryl Annette Kolovic, a great example that the numbers don't matter, because she is the biggest person I know out there in the National Guard. Proud representation by my sister, Cheryl Annette Kolovic, with the National Guard. Back to this caution. Cody Lipster, talk to me.
Now, we did not see anybody go into pit road, so, it looks like a lot of people are done with their pit stops, not going to question any more fuel mileage. Now it's just hammer that gas pedal and hope that everything works out for the best. Not going to get a lot of laps to log here. Going to have about 10 to go or so. So we have enough time for one more caution if it really comes down to it, but we're really hoping we go green flag to the end. Looks like the pace car could be turning off its lights this time around and possibly going to 1 to green.
All righty, I tell you what, it has been a very action-packed night tonight with the live broadcast by All Pro Broadcasting. Going to throw out a final couple of shout-outs right now. Ladies and gentlemen, we hope you are enjoying the show. Make sure you give that big shout-out and a big thumbs up, not only to KMA Racing, but to All Pro Broadcasting, as well as GW Graphics, tonight's race sponsor. I tell you what, there are a lot of guys that work behind the scenes. Big shout out to Over the Top Paints and Designs for bringing us these great military paint jobs. Big shout out to my brethren and my sisterin out there serving the military. Big shout out to all the drivers out here tonight. If I have missed anybody, ladies and gentlemen, I am sorry. But we have got, Gary Burt, Edward Bray out there showing their support. Dean Viney. Chris Hogue out there, Vietnam vet, survivor, and just big shout out to all the vets out there tonight, Cody.
Yeah, and a lot of those that did and did not make it back. Very sad stories to hear when they did not, but very happy ones when they do. Ladies and gentlemen.
Wally Tierheimer, Mark Jackson, Everett Lane, Dustin Markham, Tim B. Cox, rounding out your top 5. We are getting ready to go back into some green flag racing. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be taking lap 110. We've got 3 to go, 3-lap shootout. We're going to see 3 wide. We're going to see 4 wide. We may even see 5 wide, Cody.
Yeah, we're definitely going to see a lot of 3 wide, and we're hoping to see a lot more 3 wide action here tonight. Looks like Mark Jackson not quite getting off to the jump that he wanted to, but still getting a good, hard, solid fight all the way back. And now Everett F. Lane coming up into the middle line. Now going to be getting a good run and a good pump all the way down the backstretch. Now passing Wally Tierheimer on the bottom lane.
Well, I tell you what, Cody, I said 3 laps to go, and I was wrong. I thought this was 113. This is 120 tonight. So 7 bonus laps coming at you tonight at Daytona. So we are on 110 of 120. 10 laps to go. Everett Lane side by side with Wally Tierheimer. Mark Jackson, Gravedigger, pushing hard, trying to clear Everett Lane. The question is Everett Lane going to lay true to Mark Jackson, or is Everett Lane going to dump down to that inside lane? Now, Cody, right now with 10 laps to go, if you are Everett Lane, what do you do?
Right now, like you said, we do have 120 laps tonight. So, you know, I would consider the next 7 or 8 laps, just consider it overtime. Right now, you're playing in overtime. You're trying to win this thing. You've got every last inch you possibly can get. The outside line, you know you can get a better run off of it, but that inside line, if you get more people, you know you can outrun that outside line. Hopefully nobody else builds up in the outside line. Right now I'd be talking to my spotter saying, all right, who's got more people? Who's going to be where? And now we got contact.
Leaders are wiping out, ladies and gentlemen. Leaders are wiping out up there in the front. That will bring out a caution that will not seal the deal tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to return to at least a 2-lap shootout. But up in front, Wally Tierheimer and Everett Lane. I tell you what, I don't know, the number 42 of Tim B. Cox pushing very hard on Wally. Mark Jackson contact with the rear end of Wally Tierheimer. I don't know, Cody. I'm not going to call that, Cody. What do you think?
You know, a lot of that was just really tight racing, and honestly, it was just so tight. It was crucial for everybody to try to make as big of moves as they possibly could, but you know, it just ended up being a little bit too close and a little bit too tight and a little bit too big of a bobble, and that's what really kind of brought that one out once more.
But you know what? I tell you what, Cody, this is going to change up everything here at Daytona. You know, Wally Tierheimer going for a ride tonight for sure. The whole front pack, other than the number 13 of Dustin Markham, able to squeeze past that. But unfortunate break for Everett Lane, Wally Tierheimer, Freeman Kelly, and the number 3 Mark Jackson. Wow, that changes everything. Bad break for our leaders. But I tell you what, on this restart, we're going to have a whole new crew of names to talk about, Cody.
Yeah, you know, we've been talking about them just about all night, and really lucky break for Freeman Kelly. Ended up avoiding that one, so now he will be starting in third position. Judd Danielson will be starting in first, and it looked like, well, actually, my bad. He will be starting second, and Dustin Markham will be starting in first. A lot of drivers going to have to use their final backup truck if they have one left. They're not going to have a lot of drivers left on the lead lap. This is where a lot of those drivers that are not on the lead lap is really going to come into play, because those drivers that aren't, just because they're not on the lead lap doesn't mean they're not there. So these are going to be the drivers that help one another get around and get to the lead lap or get to the win.
All right, well, I'll tell you what. You know, you're absolutely correct. And right now, we only do have 6 drivers out on the lead lap. Our 6th driver, Wally Tierheimer, is sitting in pit row. Not sure if he's going to be able to retain. He's pulling out of pit row as we speak. But rounding out our top 6 is Dustin Markham, Judd Danielson, Freeman Kelly, Mark Jackson, Everett Lane, and Wally Tierheimer. Edward Bray, our first driver, a lap down tonight.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I do believe Edward Bray just did get the lap back, so he should be fighting for this win here tonight, yet at Daytona.
Alrighty, we are going to try to get a quick driver interview in. Joining us in the booth is the number 66 of Edward Bray. Edward Bray, you are the last driver on the lead lap of what appears to be possibly a 4-lap shootout. Wow, unfortunate late caution, but talk to me, Edward.
Yeah, it was unfortunate for that last caution to come out. But with the last caution coming out, I'm actually got the lucky dog, so I'm back on the lead lap, so that's a good thing. So far, I mean, the Chevy Silverado is running good. Just trying to keep her clean and take this thing to the front.
Now, I do understand you have got a little bit of a military background. Talk to me about that.
In the U.S. Army. I was with the Signal Corps. Did communications while I was in the military.
Alright, copy that. I want to give you a big shout out for your service there with military, with the Army, and a big shout out, doing a great job tonight. But now you are in survival mode. Right now, all those military taught instincts we're going to kick in. We were in the last few laps looking at maybe a 4-lap, 3-lap shootout. But you're in 7th place, last truck on the lead lap, but you've got a partner, Gary Bird, out there behind you. I don't know, Edward. Do I keep my cameras glued onto you, or are you going to get up there to the front?
Well, hopefully Gary will push me to the front. We'll be doing a lot of dodging and weaving, just like we do it, done in the military. So hopefully I can bring this Chevy Silverado to the front.
Alrighty, well, I'll tell you what, we are putting our bets in here on the All-Pro Broadcasting chat, and Dustin Markham, Judd Danielson, Freeman Kelly, Everett Lane, Mark Jackson, Wally Tierheimer. There's my guy, number 66, Edward Bray. Camera's glued on you, buddy.
Appreciate it, Scott.
Alrighty, and that was Edward Bray. And I tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to have a barn burner here. Cody, talk to me.
Yeah, it looks like we'll definitely be getting back to going green here. I'm not sure if it's going to be with 4 or 3 to go. It looks like it's going to be about 3 to go or so. Lights are off the pace car. Looks like we're going to get ready to go back to green flag racing. Dustin Markham will be starting on your inside lane with Judd Danielson starting on your outside lane, being pushed on by Everett Lane, and on the inside will be Freeman Kelly pushing on Dustin Markham. So looks like a lot of good action, a lot of good side-by-side tonight. I would definitely expect a lot of 3 wides when we end up getting back going to green.
All right, I tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, back to green flag racing here at the Remember the Heroes. Mike Mitchell Reeves, unfortunate, out for the evening, but rooting on the number 24 of Everett Lane. Ladies and gentlemen, get it out there on that All-Pro Broadcasting chat. Michelle McMaster, Eisenhower, rooting on Dave, being in cahoots with Dave. But I tell you what, type it up into that All-Pro Broadcasting chat. We are looking at about a 4 or 3-lap shootout. Tell me who you think your favorite driver is. Your choices are Dustin Markham, Judd Danielson, Everett Lane, Freeman Kelly, Mark Jackson, Wally Tierheimer, Edward Bray. 7 drivers on the lead lap of the Remember the Heroes 300. And I tell you what, Cody, not only a shout out to our real life heroes out there with the Army, Marines, National Guard, Rangers, Air Force, Marines, but our heroes out here in tonight's race. And those are the drivers that have chosen to race safe and race clean. Dustin Markham, Judd Danielson, side by side on our 9th restart. Take it away, Cody.
Base car's in, green flag is out. People are stepping on the loud pedals once more. For the final time, it looks like Dustin Markham's going to get a good jump off of the start-finish line. Going to barely have to come back for Freeman Kelly. Freeman's starting to push it back onto the back end of Dustin, but now it looks like the outside line might be getting a little bit of a run. Nope, they're backing back off.
Now, we've not talked a lot about Freeman Kelly, but Freeman Kelly in the number 31 National Guard Chevy Silverado, making his presence known. Now, I tell you what, you can ride him back there all night long, Cody, but the last 3 laps. That's what matters. We have got the number. Trouble up in front. They're shaking. They're a rocking. 85 getting turned by the number 13 in the pit row. But we are still under green flag racing, staying with our race leaders. And unfortunately, 2 drivers out. We have got a 4-truck shootout, staying with our leaders. Everett Lane, fast lane racing. Wally Tierheimer. Big shout out to Martha. Watch the number 31 of Freeman Kelly. Mark Jackson hung out to that outside lane. No help. Right now, Everett, we are on lap 118 of 120. Everett Lane, Wally Tierheimer, 1 and 2. Freeman Kelly, position 4. Mark Jackson hung out by himself.
Don't think Mark's going to accept that as his position. It looks like he might just pick up Freeman Kelly on the bottom line. Looks like he might push Freeman up to the outside line and up into the groove. Mark Jackson looks like he wants to go, but Freeman just not going with him, trying everything he possibly can, being as persuasive as possible. Mark going back to the outside line. Looks like he's going to race side by side with Freeman.
But you know, Mark Jackson's life is right now in the hands of Freeman Kelly. Freeman Kelly not giving Mark Jackson a hand. But right now, I'll tell you what, Cody, do you want to be Wally? Do you want to be Everett? Because Wally could very easily go for that outer lane win, getting a big boost from Wally Tierheimer. But wait, there's more. Here comes the number 8 of Andrew Schulte, number 71 of Dean Viney, but I don't know. Everett Lane right now with Wally Tierheimer coming down the backstretch. Cody, talk to me.
Like I said before, this lap traffic, they were out of the question for the win, but they will not be out of the race, hunt for the race. Now Mark Jackson gaining positions on the outside line. Looks like he got a pretty good run off the turn 3 and 4. Now on to 1 and 2. Trying to get a good side draft. Not quite enough. Now Wally Tierheimer coming down. Everett.
Chaos, and we have got Mark Jackson 31 into pit lane, but Everett Lane out there in the front, side by side with Wally. The Hardy Mobiles taking advantage of that outside lane. We've got Wally Tierheimer and the number 8 of Andrew Schulte side by side with Everett and the number 71 of Dean Viney.
Coming to the checkered flag, it looks like it will be Wally. Everett trying to fight back. No, Wally gets the win.
Wally Tierheimer bringing her home tonight with KMA Racing and the All-Pro Broadcasting Network, along with the veterans out there. So, whoa, I tell you what, cliffhanger there, right there to the end, Friends to the end, Green to the end, Wally Tierheimer, Everett Lane, Edward Bray. Ladies and gentlemen, what a race. Hang around. We're going to get these live post-race interviews. Joining us first and foremost will be the number 66 of Edward Bray. I tell you what, Edward Bray, wow, I'm out of breath. Help me out.
Help you out.
Great job tonight, Edward Bray.
Hey, how's it going, Scott?
I tell you what, I am out of breath. I need a breather. You got to talk to me.
Wow, that was an exciting end. Lost the draft with, I let off a little bit. I thought the 2 trucks were going to come back up on the track, but it was a great race. Worked my tail off trying to get up here to third spot.
Right, but I tell you what, you brought home a very solid 3rd spot tonight. Talk to me about your paint. Talk to me about your service tonight with the Remember the Heroes.
Well, I want to thank Loose Lug Nuts and for painting this great U.S. Army truck. Loving it, loving what he does. Painting my vehicles. It's been great serving my country and all. I definitely want to give a shout out to all the present veterans, all the past veterans, and those that are have been lost but not forgotten.
Alrighty, I'll tell you what, Edward, very serious words right there, and well, damn, brother, we appreciate what you have done, what you do, what you continue to do. I myself am very thankful for my freedom to call these races, All Pro Broadcasting's freedom to get out there and broadcast. So, Edward, seriously, thank you for being a veteran. Big shout out tonight for the number 66, Edward Bray. Great looking truck, Ed. Thank you.
Thanks, Scott. Happy Veterans Day.
Everett, you got a copy, bud?
Sure do, Cody. How you doing, buddy?
Man, a second place. Got to be disappointed in the fact that you couldn't quite finish it off, but got to be happy with that finish, though, right?
Yeah, first loser. You know, it's kind of hard to accept. It's hard to race out here. We're not a whole lot of friends, but I want to thank all the vets out there for everything they do, and like I say, making my freedom free as it is. And good race tonight. Fought hard from the back of the field, got all the way back up here, and had a good night.
10-4 on that, bud. You started 31st, ended up working your way up to a good top position, and very solid run all the way through tonight. You still had all your resets, still had everything in the clear. I mean, wasn't running low on fuel and nothing like that.
No, I had plenty of fuel. I had 2.94 gallons left there, and had that one left quick fix there left there at that last caution, so I was happy to have that, and came in the pit, got a new truck, and went out there and brought up to second place tonight.
10-4, man. Anybody else you want to thank?
Yeah, I want to thank my teammates Rex Buchanan out there tonight. He had a rough night, and Kenneth, he helped me out a lot. But it's a good race tonight. Had a lot of fun, and thank you for you guys doing your job up there. It was awesome tonight. I got to watch it next to me as the night went on. You guys are doing a great telecast up there.
Thank you. Good race.
Thank you.
All righty, but the man of the hour we have got right now joining us in the booth, Wally Tierheimer. Oh my goodness, Wally bringing home the number 57 Hardy Mobile. Big shout out to Mom Tierheimer. So talk to me, Wally.
Well, like I said earlier, man, it was I felt like a pinball out there this race. I went from the front to the back to the front to the back to the front, and you know, when all of our teammates seemed to be wrecked out or on different laps, or you know, luckily I pushed Everett. We got up, we got clear. Something happened behind us, and then lo and behold, my teammate is coming up on the outside, and he was in perfect position to grab me and push me right ahead of Everett. It was a great finish. I appreciate Andrew Schulte pushed me, matching trucks, pushed me to the victory, and I couldn't have done it without him. And you know, and it was a lot of fun up there, man. My heart is really still beating right now. It's crazy.
Well, you know, I tell you what, Wally, you know, great job tonight. I am just like thoroughly impressed. You know, now you were a season winner here with KOA Season 1, bringing her home tonight in the you know, the Remember the Heroes. But well, damn, Wally, I am like absolutely speechless. Just don't know what to say.
Yeah, I had a good week last week when on last Friday when I won the championship of KOA, and then I followed it up with a victory last Saturday night at Talladega with the boys in KMA, and then I went tonight. So it's been pretty good.
All righty, big shout out to Wally Tierheimer with Max V. Great job tonight, Wally.
All right, thanks, and thanks a lot to my mom for watching, and all the other viewers like Michelle and Becky and. All the regulars, man, we couldn't do it without you. So thank you very much, Scott and Cody, too, both.
All right, copy that. But now we have got a very special interview coming up, requested by our painter, John Hedrick. Mark Jackson, John Hedrick, our painter with Over the Top, wants to talk to you. Mark Jackson, talk to our painter, John Hedrick.
Man, first of all, I have to thank him for putting this slick-ass paint job on this truck. We had an incident there on the last lap. I was trying to push Wally, and I got into 31 down below me. Apologize to that gentleman, but man, that Gravedigger truck was fast tonight.
Copy that, and you did bring home a very solid 4. Now, Mark, I'm not sure if you were in the military or not, but I know you were a great USA support. I know you did, and you were all about the USA. Talk to us about our vets, our veterans, our active duty. Talk to me about the God Bless the USA.
Absolutely. My father was in the Navy, and my uncle fought in Okinawa, Japan, and I have a lot of good friends that are in the military. We can't thank them enough. thank them every day. Every time you see a soldier, walk up to them and shake their hand and tell them thank you, because without them, what we do, our freedoms would not be possible without them.
All right, big shout out to Mark Jackson bringing home a very solid 4 tonight. Great job, Mark Jackson, my gravedigger himself.
Thank you, Scotty. I really appreciate y'all putting this on. It was a blast to race in it.
10-4 on that. Now, Gary Burt, you finished P8. You got a copy?
Yes, sir, I do.
Just talk to me about your race, bud. It looked like we were doing really, really good, but you ended up finishing 1 lap down. Not quite able to do it tonight, eh?
No, it was, boy, for me, it was just like I was in the wrong place at the wrong time almost every time. And, you know, I had a connection issue early, started the race a lap down, got it back. I think I got up as far as maybe, 10th or 12th, I think, something like that. And then just bad luck again. But just hung in there, just kept driving, kept trying to get my lap back. And, you know, ended up in 8th with a lap down. I mean, you can finish in the top 10 with a lap down. I'll take that any day.
10-4 on that. So, last I hear, you were part of the military, something about Air Force, I believe, right?
Yes, sir. I served 4 years in the United States Air Force, right towards the Vietnam War. So I'm a Vietnam War at that.
All righty.
Well, I really appreciate your service.
Thank you, sir.
All right, yes, sir. Big 10-4 on that. Gary, thank you so much. Great job tonight, as always. Gary Burt, not on the lead lap, but a lead lap representative, one of my primary admins here at KMA Racing. Gary, thank you for all you do, sir.
Thank you, buddy. And one more time, man, KMA is the best. If you're looking for a place to come race with us. All Pro Broadcasting and Over the Top Paints. Awesome people. Awesome.
All righty, thank you, Gary. All righty, Cody. Now, I tell you what, you need to sum it up. You are my sum it up type fellow. Sum it up here at the Remember the Heroes 300 at Daytona.
Alrighty, man. This is a hard one to sum up. I mean, you know, we had great racing all the way to the end. Sadly, we had 10 cautions, a little bit more than what we like to see, but they were pretty short cautions, typically about 4 laps apiece. We ended up being under caution for about 40 laps, but at the same time, we also had 40 lean changes. So tonight, the winner ended up being Wally Thierheimer, ended up leading 7 of the 120 laps. But the person that ended up leading the most laps ended up being Mark Jackson with 39 laps led. Very solid performance from Mark Jackson. Ended up doing a very solid job, and Freeman Kelly ended up having the fastest lap of the race with the 45.361. Very solid racing all the way around. Everybody ended up using their heads and really gave the vets a very good show, and everybody at home too. Very good, solid run.
All righty, copy that. Final shout-outs. Big shout-out to PADD, P-A-D-D, People Against Distracted Driving. And KMA Racing is the official sponsorship for PADD, People Against Distracted Driving, bringing you the monthly broadcast for Sunday of the month. Big shout-out to Richard Brose, our sponsor for the Monday Night Mania. Coming to you live in 2 nights, we have got Race 2. Also coming to you live, Race 9 of the TNT Series. Jason Russo with Pro Automotive, our sponsor for Tuesday nights. Big shout out to our painter, Over the Top Paints and Designs. Check him out on Facebook. Give John Hedrick, Loose Lugness Racing, Over the Top Paints and Designs a big shout out. Let's not forget about our broadcaster, All Pro Broadcasting. And more importantly tonight, ladies and gentlemen, next time you see a veteran, next time you see a gentleman walking down the street wearing that camouflage, walk up to him, shake his hand, give him a hug if he'll accept a hug. But do remember, these guys out here fighting for our freedom, fighting for my right to broadcast, fighting for your right to watch, fighting for our broadcasters' right to broadcast. big shout out to our veterans out there for everything they do tonight. Big shout out to Cody, big shout out to Mike D'Amico with All Pro Broadcasting, big shout out to our fans. Cody, wrap us up.
Had a lot of fun tonight. Can't wait for the next one, Scott. Thank you for allowing me to be in the booth with you. And thank you, Michael, for being on cameras, Loose Lugging us, for painting up the awesome paint schemes, and all you fans out there helping us do what we do. So thank you all very much, and good night.
All right, I tell you what, if you like what you've seen and you've seen what you like, give us a big thumbs up out there on that All Pro Broadcasting channel. Big thumbs up to All Pro Broadcasting Network. I am Scott Kolovic. He is Cody Lipster. We've got Michael D'Amico on the cameras, busy as ever. Channel 1, Channel 2, broadcasting 14, 15. I tell you what, I cannot count that high. All Pro Broadcasting, the busiest man over the top. Another busy man. I am Scott. He is Cody. He is Mike. We are out of here. Have a good night.
Smithley, driving the number 0, JD Motorsports Chevrolet, and you're watching All Pro Broadcasting.
His men and their guns, holding off the enemy for 3 hot days in the desert sun. The decision he made, his men on the grave, was do or die for him that day. He stepped into the light of fire, and a hero he became. my brother.